This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. What's going on, freakazoids? Yeah, almost didn't do a show. I was like, man, I just... But, you know, I get emails from freaks that always say, hey, your shows help me get through stuff, you know? And I don't know, I always feel weird when I don't do one anyways. It's kind of like, you know, even when when people work out all the time and then they say to themselves, I don't want to work out today. Then they work out because they feel weird if they miss it or something. Yeah. But anyways, I thought today you guys could call in if you want to do again with your true crime stories. You know, the ones where you know, you've seen something or you were involved in something. Could be, you know, domestic issues or some sort of anything really. I mean, so, you know, the lines are going to be open for you to call in and discuss those. There was we've done this before, and sometimes people call in and sometimes they don't, you know. It's just it is what it is on those types of shows. Yeah, well, it does sound fun, so you have to call in with your story. And that means that, you know, I didn't really, I tried to go golfing today and, you know, my neck thing was going on, so it didn't really quite, yeah, it just didn't feel right out there. So you know, I didn't have any time to prepare anything like that, but we've done, on Saturdays and Sundays, I was going to start maybe doing call-in shows anyways, so maybe we can do that. But, you know, if you don't feel like, since I'm not preparing anything, and you guys, if you don't feel like doing, you know, super chats or whatever like that on a night where I didn't really do anything other than take phone calls, that's cool. Whatever it is, all right? I just want to do the, keep the show going, as it were. You know, maybe I can get back to working on the, I was actually working on the animation redo of the Delphi probable cause, but I think I'm going to finish the Koberger one first, then I'll finish that one. Because all I have left on that one is I have to redo when he went down to the Albertsons. Hey, thank you, Kathy Freudenmaker. When he went down to Albertsons, and then I thought he went to Johnson, Idaho, because that's what it said in the affidavit there. But apparently, you know, it's Johnson, Washington, which is right there, just south of Pullman. So I have to redo that portion of that video, and then I've just got a couple more things to do. Let's see. Basically there's just that, and when Brian Koberger went to where was it? No, Moscow at 9 in the morning to like 9. You got there at 9:11, stayed there till 9:20, and then, hey, hold on, my wife's calling. Yeah, I think it was like 211 to 219 or so, and then got back at 230 back in Pullman. That's such a weird trip to me because it's just straight there and straight back, but with 9 minutes in between, like you're just looking for something or checking in to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, hold on. Hey, thanks, Adniram. Oh, that's right. You're the scouting dude's significant other. All right. Yeah, they can use those. I mean, there might be really simple answers, just saying, "Oh yeah, we screwed up. We meant Johnson." Because of the border issue, it just kept getting back and forth. Idaho, Washington, Idaho, Washington. I mean, I think a reasonable jury, and then you just show the pings on the screen and go, "Oh, okay, so you guys meant Johnson, Washington, not Idaho." It would be an easy one to debunk and explain. It was just written a typo. Other ones, might struggle with a little bit. Yeah, we always talk about that, Lori. That same thing. Unalive, saying unalived and little trigger warning messages and all that stuff in the true crime community is kind of a joke, really. It's like the last place in the world that you would need to put trigger warnings out because everybody should know and be aware that what you're talking about is, filled with things that aren't really enjoyable in terms of like happening to other people. Yeah, anyways, Amber Maiden right there. Okay, so Amber Maiden is in the chat right there. You don't have to eat dinner first. Come on. How dare you eat dinner first? That's ridiculous. Anyways, this story that I have on the screen that you can't see yet, this one, is one that this is her boss at one point. How crazy is that? Thank you, Quietly Frozen. And Mustang Sally. A 43-year-old man pleaded guilty Friday to first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder in the fatal stabbing of his ex-girlfriend and near fatal stabbing of her then 5-year-old daughter. Can you imagine? I mean, a person like this should get zero leniency whatsoever. Joshua P. Phillips entered the courtroom in a wheelchair and wore green Spokane County inmate clothing, while about 50 people packed the room to watch the short plea hearing. According to court documents, Spokane firefighters on April 11, 2021, found two cars idling inside the garage at 5127 Adams Street. I guess we could take a look at that, see where that is. There we go. Thank you, Scout and Dude. Oh, and thanks, Annie T up there. Missed it. What does self-deleted mean? Never heard that one. What the hell does that mean? Self-deleted. Oh, you mean like for suicide? Wow. That's unbelievable. So apparently this house right here I don't know where the garage is. Is that back there maybe? Here, let me look from the top. Or maybe it's on the back side, maybe. Yeah, I think this must be over here, maybe. I mean, how would you get there, though, I guess? Is it... This is an alley. Of course, there's no street view back there, but... Alright. And 3 people, Casey Doohan, Lily Schmidt, and Phillips, lying on the floor. Dewey was dead and Schmidt had been stabbed. Okay, yeah. So I wonder, he probably tried to make it look like something happened to him too. Schmidt was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and Phillips, who appeared confused without serious injuries, was also taken to the hospital, documents said. Schmidt recovered after weeks in intensive care. That's I think the 5-year-old. Officers learned Dewey and Phillips were dating, but Dewey ended the relationship about 2 days before the stabbing, court records said. She told Phillips he was no longer welcome in her home, and he left. Court documents say Dewey received about 100 text messages from Phillips the day before the brutal attack. The messages were reportedly very disturbing. Oh man, so this guy was like, you can't leave me. And, if I can't have you, nobody can, type of thing. I mean, just a total controlling nightmare type person here. Dewey was 35 years old, mother of 3. She grew up in Spokane, went to North Central High School, and spent most of her adult life as a mental health technician. And see, that's what Amber Maiden works in that field. Most of those in attendance Friday appear to be there for Dewey and Schmidt. Some of their loved ones who shed tears before, during, and after their hearing wore in loving memory and fly high t-shirts in honor of Dewey. At least one of the in loving memory shirts had a purple ribbon on it, the color associated with the fight to end domestic violence. The maximum penalty for Phillips' charges is life in prison. Prosecutors are recommending 36 years in prison with credit for time served. That's it. That is a low number. 36 years for killing somebody merely because they didn't want to go out with you anymore, and then stabbing a 5-year-old kid and trying to kill that person. I mean, that should be life without parole, no matter what. 36 years is a long time, given the fact that he's 43, which would make him 79 years old. But if I was the judge, according to Amber, he doesn't have to accept that. And if I was him, I wouldn't. I'd give him a minimum of 60 years in prison, meaning he could get out when he's 103, which isn't going to happen living in prison. I wonder what the oldest inmate is, how old somebody's actually lived to in prison. Any 100-year-old people in there? Yeah. Huh? What are you talking about, Cindy? What pillow? No idea what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, just don't worry about what they're saying over there, you guys. Alright? Just forget it. Please. I mean, I definitely don't need you guys going over there and checking, and, it's just complete waste of time. Yeah. No, well, he stabbed the 5-year-old, and they survived. But I mean, he tried to kill them. And yeah, you wonder how it all went down too. Did he stab the 5-year-old in front of her, then go after her so she got to see her own daughter, or was it just kind of random? You know, like, I mean, not random, but it wasn't a plan of that type. I don't know. All right, 859, you're on.
Evening, Gray. How are you doing? Scouting dude.
Hey, Scouting Dude, what's going on?
All right. You can have your pick. You can hear one of the following true crime stories: the Great Stripper Fiasco of 2007, the Fabulous Five, the first day at Fort Carson, my battle buddy from basic training in Korea, and the not so random hero in Korea.
Are these true crime stories?
Yes, every single one of them.
Let's see. Well, wow. I'm not sure. They all seem. Well, which one is your favorite story? Tell that one.
The Great Stripper Fiasco of 2007.
There we go. There we go.
So, of all people, my unit decided for me to be the equal opportunity advisor. And before any 4-day weekend, anything like that, you have to do EO classes. And this was the day before Thanksgiving in 2007 at Fort Carson, Colorado. And half of the day, I taught equal opportunity classes and stressed the female cannot give consent for sexual intercourse if she's had one drink. And I beat that thing home around midnight that night. My lieutenant calls me on the phone and says, "Do you know what the hell is going on in the barracks?" And I'm like, no, you woke me up. But I'll play your silly little game. What's going on in the barracks, sir? And he goes, "There's a stripper in the barracks. Why are all the soldiers sending me naked pictures of her?" And I go, "Well, because you think you're their buddy, and they think they're your buddy, so they're sending it to you." "Well, did they send you any?" I'm like, "No." "Why not?" "Because if they did, I would kill them." So I'm like, I will find out what's going on. So I call one of the guys in the barracks, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "Yeah, we got a stripper in the barracks. She's getting ready to go home." I'm like, "All right, it's getting close to hours or whatever. You need to wrap up your party or whatever. Make sure she gets home safe." I hang up. I lay down. Still can't get it out of my head, so I call the staff duty desk. And I go, "Hey, I told him who I was, and I said, there's shenanigans going on in one of my rooms." I go, I go, "Write down everything, but don't log it into the staff duty log yet. I'm coming in, and when I get there, I'll tell you what you need to do." So I drive to Fort Carson. I pull up into the barracks parking lot, and there's this car pulled all the way up to the barracks. And the barracks are kind of like college dorms, but a lot worse.
Yeah.
And the hazards are on. The back doors are open. And I go into the hallway, and there's a staff duty officer, the staff duty NCO, one of my sergeants, and probably 10 other people. And I look in the door, and the female is in a bed with the cover on her. And the NCO is like, "Hey, I put my top on her so she'd be decent or whatever, but we can't get her awake." I'm like, "All right, call an ambulance and start logging in everything." I go, "I'll let my first sergeant know." I go, and then they'll let the colonel know. So the ambulance shows up. They use the smelling salts on her. She bites one of the paramedics. So they call the MPs. MPs show up. And as they're showing up, it is 1 minute past visitation hours. So they call CID, which is the Criminal Investigation Division, because since there's a drunken female in the barracks after hours, she had to have been raped. So we get all these guys. CID does their thing. They take the female home, and we have to wait on Thanksgiving Eve. Well, now it's Thanksgiving morning, on this female to wake up so she can give her statement, and all these guys to sober up so they can give their statements. Well, it turns out that after they were released for the day, they go meet up with some guy from a different unit. He goes, "Hey, I got a stripper. She's a real good friend of mine. She'll do a party in the barracks for you guys. All she wants is a bottle of Patron." Like, all right. Well, they met up at, I believe, Hooters by the Citadel Mall, and they all had 3 pitchers of beer. They all drove to Fort Carson. She was already so drunk she knew she wouldn't be able to get on through the gate. So she got in their car. They went to the Class 6, which is a liquor store on post. They got her 2 bottles of Patron. They go back to the barracks. She downs 1 bottle,
Man.
starts doing a show, and then downs a 2nd bottle, and then passes out.
Well, it seems like that would kill you,
And then,
actually. 2 bottles.
Yeah. Well, while she's sobering up, the CID people, they're at the hospital in the emergency room on Fort Carson with her while they're pumping her stomach, and they're asking the nurse, when is she going to be able to give a statement, because they believe that the soldiers raped her. So now it's getting around 4 or 5 o'clock Thanksgiving Day, tells them that she was raped so she could tell her parents that she was raped and she's not a stripper, and that's the reason why she missed Thanksgiving dinner. Well, they take all of my guys and me to CID, and everybody's doing lie detector tests. The CID guys tell these people that they know they raped her, but they're going to let them have their Thanksgiving weekend to themselves. So I finally get home. My ex-wife's mad because I got called in on Thanksgiving. The next day I get called in because they all went AWOL. Well, it turns out they all go to Mexico, party it up for a long time, and when they're coming back, they get caught, and they all get arrested. And I get called in on Christmas to do all the paperwork for these dudes to come back in. Nobody got in trouble for her because she later told them that she made it all up because she didn't want to tell her parents what she did for a living, and that was the reason why she missed Thanksgiving dinner. But that is the great stripper fiasco of 2007.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. Oops. Hit the wrong button on my stream. Well, there you go. That's the great stripper fiasco. But what end? Nobody got in trouble, or?
They got in trouble for going AWOL. None of them got thrown out because they were getting ready to go back to Iraq. They were most of them were E4s, so they got busted down to E1 private. They lost 2/3 of their pay for 3 months, and they were restricted to our troop footprint.
Were they ever put back up to? Were they ever able to move up in the military ever again after that?
Yes, every single one of them. A bunch of them got out as sergeants after Iraq.
Okay. Huh. Well, it's sounds like you got a bunch of them. I guess you can call in every single time we have a show on it.
Yeah, I will. But you have a good night.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Remember, the like button's free.
The like button's free, everybody. Listen to Scout and Dude. All right, I used the
Yep,
one.
good night, Greg.
I had the one in my pocket, the larger coin today. I tried playing golf. It was kind of hard because my neck was sort of like it was twinging on different shots. So feels okay right this minute for some reason, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's bugging me.
my neck bothers me a bunch. Yesterday I was laid up. I was helping an old timer build a greenhouse for his wife. In 5 hours of doing that, all of my issues came up, and then I had to take my meds, and I passed out probably around 8 o'clock last night.
Wow. Well, you probably had a good night's sleep.
Yep. You have a good night, Greg.
All right, man.
I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. Scouting dude. Yeah, so the person up there, who is Lun Bruges? Do you know who that person is, Miscus? And what was the point of that right there? I'm just curious about it. I didn't really get it. I mean, what, did you just win? That's your boyfriend? Well, here's the thing is, so LM, I guess, was making some comments in the chat yesterday about Miss Skiss, and she was just completely like they're just totally out of nowhere, and it turns out that she was thinking of somebody totally different, and Miss Skiss had nothing to do with what LM was talking about. All right, so she sort of said she totally apologizes if I was wrong, and she was totally wrong. She was thinking of somebody else. However, it'd be nice for her to type it in or say something, because it wasn't really cool at all to say something like that. All right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, she's apologizing and everything like that, but here's the thing. If you're not absolutely sure about something like that, then don't put that out there. It's just really ridiculous, okay? To put something out there you're not absolutely 100% on like that. An accusation of this is what they did and this is what they did. All right, there you go. So I'm glad that I actually showed Miss Giss the part where she said, "Oh, if I got that wrong, I totally apologize." So it'd be cool if she typed it in herself. All right, LM, it's not hard to do. Yep. Does anybody have any true crime stories? I mean, it's going to be a short show. It wasn't even... At least I can say I did a show tonight, I don't have to do a long one, but at least I came on. I was just really contemplating not even doing one. Yeah. Yeah. Putting something out there that was that bad, you can't just sort of do that. Say something like, well, I'm not even going to repeat what she said. Okay? But it was bad, It's just accusing somebody of something that, is really disturbing. I know exactly what she feels like, to be honest with you. Happens to me every single day, every day on the internet. So, I mean, it's just absolutely not good. It's not a good thing. Yeah. Time is it? 35 minutes in. Yeah, I wasn't really wanting to do supernatural or anything. Oh yeah, there's no number. Yeah, I guess that would make a difference on this screen. Oh, there it is. There you go. The Mike D Experience. Thank you. Another cup of Joe, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I apologize for not having like a. Well, I mean, I've done other live shows before. I just don't have a whole bunch of cases and stuff to talk about. I'm kind of just burnt out on, you know, like tomorrow I'll feel a little bit different on some of this stuff, but I don't know. It's just been, you know, the same cases in your head over and over and over again. You know, it'd be kind of nice to. What I'll try to do tomorrow is whatever trial elements are available in the Murdoch case, I'm going to condense it down for us to watch. You know, all that crap where they, you know, you can't hear or anything. I'm going to try to remove, just like we did in the Molly Tibbetts one. Remember how good that was? You know, because you can actually cut down the 4 hours of court hearings to about an hour and 10 minutes or something. I mean, it's like by the time you're, you know, the pausing and people walking up to the counter and, you know, I mean, the stand and just everything. Just, there's so much useless, wasted time. You know, okay, call your next witness. We call Joe Smith. And then Joe Smith gets up there, and then we hear stuff like, Joe, so Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings, you know, what are your credentials? And then about 40 minutes of, well, I spent 9 years doing this and 5. I really, when in a trial, let's just all assume that they're experts. Okay, I'm not going to play that part. It's absolutely not useful whatsoever. If you want to go back and figure out, you know, what qualifies them and so forth, then feel free to go back and watch all that stuff. But to me, I just want to know what the information is. And then if it turns out it's something, ooh, that sounded kind of dodgy, then you might go back and look to see what it was. Oh, you're in the waiting room? Okay. What's your... Wait, who's in the waiting room? Who's in the waiting room? Oh, you're in the waiting room. Okay. I don't know who's... Oh, yeah, you're the call-in user. I think you're the third one down. Are you going to want to... You can just sit there for a little bit, right? I got to get these... You're the call-in user one, though, right? I got to do it in order, though. For a little bit, right? Hello! 517, you're on.
Hi, Gray. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. You don't have your area code in there. Well, not you. I was responding to somebody else. So what's going on?
I got my notebook on Saturday.
Oh, yeah? Sweet.
Yeah, so it was for Olivia. So I picked her up today to go see the Vincent van Gogh exhibit at the Detroit Institute of Arts, and I gave her the notebook. And
there it is, everybody. Come on, you got to get one of these. Look at it has the black freak pen in it, or you can get the red pen that writes in black. So that's what's kind of cool about the red pen, is it still writes in black. So, anyways, what do you think of it? It's a lot sturdier. Did you ever have one of the older ones? Hello? Are you still there? 517? I can see you.
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Your audio dropped off.
I apologize. Yeah, she said it was a lot like better than she thought it was going to be. So yeah, and she liked how you wrote like "be safe out there" and wrote a little message to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But
so,
was it for her? I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was, right? You told me to.
Yeah. She doesn't get on as much because she's in college, but when she can, she tries to. So, but yeah. So I have a true crime story that happened to myself. So I think I was about 19 or 20, and I was visiting a boyfriend I had over in Muskegon, Michigan, which is right on the lake shore. And my cousin was with me, and we were driving in my car, and we were just minding our own business. We had just been to the lake, and we had went swimming and everything, and we were driving down the road. And
where is this? Maybe you can tell me where it is. Where is this?
Yeah, it was in Muskegon, Michigan, and it was right by Lake Michigan.
Oh.
So we were driving, and all of a sudden this like steel truck kind of swerved and like hit us head on, and it left the scene of the accident. And
I think your phone's cutting out. It cuts out every once in a while. So there you go.
Sorry. Well, anyway, we got hit, and the car who hit us, the truck that hit us, it kept going, and it left the scene of the accident. And there was sirens like immediately, and I remembered this like police officer ran up to my car and yelled in like inside, like, "Oh my God!"
You cut out again.
So.
Oh my God! What did it say? Oh my God! What?
The police officer said, like, "Oh my God, that guy just like left the scene of the accident." So we had to get taken to the emergency room in ambulances. But anyway, my cousin and I, we ended up being fine. But we later found out that this guy who hit us, he was running from the police, and he was in a high-speed, police chase with the police officers. They were chasing him, and he had been at a different spot on Lake Michigan in like Grand Haven, and he had been exposing himself outside at a state park. And so they had reports of this guy flashing people, and he kept doing it, and they had finally like caught him. So they were trying to chase him down, and he ended up hitting us, and he kept going. So he ended up escaping that time, but they eventually did end up finding him, and he got in big trouble and had to register as a sex offender. So yeah, that was my really weird true crime story that happened to my cousin and I many years ago. But,
wow. Must have been kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your name again? What's your first name?
Oh, Miranda.
So you're Miranda. Okay, yeah. I was just...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're always in the chat and everything. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah. How's your neck doing?
Well, I was playing golf. It hurt. I just think it looks funny when it's on me, so I figured. But right now, I don't know. It doesn't hurt right this minute for some reason, so that's good.
That's good.
I'm just trying to do like...
I hope you feel better.
What sucks about it is I've had twice in the last 10 years these moments where my neck got really... There would be some thing going on, and then it would start affecting the nerves in my arm, and then I couldn't really function at all for months. It would be just this crazy pain thing, and then it went away the first time, and then I was starting to get it again, and then I decided to get surgery, and then that surgery was sort of botched a little bit. Sort of made some muscles not work, and they work now, but not like they did. And then now I feel like it's, in the beginning portions feels the same as it did those other times at the beginning. So I'm trying to stop whatever that is from happening again. You know, I don't really know what it is. But
Have you ever thought of going to a kinesiologist?
a who? The
They're
kinesiologist?
kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm sure I don't sit quite right or shit like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, they're kind of like a chiropractor, but they kind of do some more holistic stuff. And I've gone to one a couple different times when my back has been really bad, and it made a huge difference.
Yeah, well, I have some physical therapy things that seem to have been working, but you know what happens when I work on those videos, the ones where I just make videos and I'm doing animation, I think I get locked in to certain positions for a while, and my neck, I'm not really paying attention, gets kind of locked into a position, and then it starts hurting. So I've been doing
Well, I hope you
physical
feel
therapy
better.
work. Yeah, well, thanks, appreciate it. Glad you guys like the notebooks.
Oh, they're
Or
good.
hers.
Yeah, when we left Detroit, and we were heading back west, and there was a really bad accident on I-94, and they had the whole freeway shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we finally made it back home.
Yeah.
And Olivia gets to go back. We're going to take her back to her dorm in the morning.
Well, good. Now she has a notebook to take notes in.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks
I
for...
just wanted to say hi to you and hi to all the freaks, and have a good night.
You too. Thanks for calling in. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I know this is... tonight's just doing a call-in show, so I didn't really put the... didn't have a show planned up with all kinds of stories and all that stuff like that. But, if you guys like to help out the channel, like I always say, we're coming up to the end of the month. Last year, the first month of the year, we started off at 3,000. But I understand if you don't want to tonight because, like I said, I didn't, there's no scheduled anything. But I figured I'd come on and do a show. Well, let's see. Love your chiropractor neck. I don't like chiropractor stuff for what I've got. I have a feeling if one of those stepped in there, there'd be something really bad happen. That's what I think. All right, 913, you're on.
Hey.
Hello, who's this?
This is Mike in Kansas.
Oh, geez. How's it going?
Well, it's cold.
Yeah.
A lot of snow. I think it was Oregon. How are you doing out? Oh, I just want to give a short comment before. Is this I was reading on chat that is it really called a cervical collar? What you were wearing the other night? Is that?
No, I think that's just sort of like that thing I was wearing yesterday. The other night was just sort of this pillow that I could lean back and just sort of rest my neck on.
Yeah.
A cervical, I have this other thing that you put on, you pump up, but it looks really stupid. Like if if I put that on, it makes your whole face like squished up and everything, but it feels good. It relieves pressure and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. My sweetheart, she has one that vibrates, and it actually hooks up to a USB connection, but it makes sort of a, I don't know, a noise. It's not distracting. It's pretty quiet, but it helps her with her neck. So I was wondering if that's what you were wearing. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
I was just having fun. Your call is your true crime story. I think that's, and I know this is above and beyond the call of duty here for you to do your shows. And I've really been watching your shows for quite a bit with the Delphi cases, and then this most recent one, especially with the so-called Idaho 4. And I'd like to apologize to your chats because the other, I don't know, two or three nights ago, I was not, I got on and I was probably not in the best state of mind, and I started trolling. Admittedly, I'm an admitted troll about trash people. What do you do about the trash people and the horrible statistics of unsolved homicides and violent felonies committed in the country? And I was rude, I think, to people, and I was stuck on the subject, and I felt bad afterwards.
That wasn't in here, was it? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Well, I did it. I noticed your chat people. Some of your mods are like, tone it down or something. They were, like my
Oh, you mean in the chat itself, not
in the chat itself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, in the chat itself. I was just,
Okay.
what about the trash people? Because I think there's a lot of, especially women, who have crimes committed against them. It is a national tragedy in my opinion. And my true crime story is, I should pose like a question to you and your audience. Was there a conspiracy heretofore uninvestigated by the Kansas Bureau of Investigation surrounding the assassination of Dr. George Tiller, who many in this country would consider a trash person, by no means alone. But the assassination of Dr. George Tiller was something very unusual to look into. The man who was convicted of the crime, his name is Scott Roeder, is currently doing a 40-year prison sentence. But there were so many facts surrounding that case and the political bias and prejudice of the state government at that time was so overwhelming. I've been personally amazed that no one else went down with Scott Roeder, the perpetrator, who murdered Dr. Tiller in his church in May of it's been so long, in May of 2009, that there were so many conflicting problems and extenuating factors that it's amazing that no one else was charged with the murder other than Scott Roeder, or conspiracy to commit the murder of Dr. Tiller. And that was my true crime story. And I don't want to take up too much of your time because it's on a Sunday night. And
well, what's your name in the chat?
Michael Cadell.
Well, you go by the whole names in there.
I haven't been on your chat tonight. I wanted to apologize to your audience in front of everybody about being rude a couple nights ago. I don't get on every night, and I confess I can't watch your show every night, but I really enjoy it. I especially enjoy your, for lack of better terms, 3D animation of the crime scene, and the fact that you give to charity a significant portion of your proceeds from your program. I mean, I've outlined this before with you, and I just wanted to let you know that thank you for putting up your true crime stories tonight.
Yeah, I just want people to call in with their stories. It's always kind of interesting to hear.
Well, I had a personal interest in that. I was the security chief as a licensed private detective to the Attorney General's office of the KBI in Kansas, and I saw it come down. I was a security chief over 3 other abortion clinics, not Dr. George Tiller's. And when I saw him assassinated, I was very, it really bothered me because no one else went down for a very publicized, wide open crime committed, and the fact that he was killed in his church. And so I'll send you a packet of some of the facts I know about the case. If you don't take it up, I understand. Oregon is a very contentious state in the country, and there's lots of crimes committed in Oregon, especially Eastern Oregon. I mean, what an incredible! I mean, that's another state. But anyhow, that's my true crime story. I'm very curious about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, send me an email with that stuff on it. I'm going to get these other calls, but hey, I appreciate you calling in.
I understand totally. Thank you for taking my call.
Yep, no problem. Thanks. Thanks for apologizing for something. I wasn't around when I didn't see him say anything, but yeah. So here we go. Call in user.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, jerks in the chat, get ready to type mean stuff.
Here we go. Yep, here it comes.
Here it comes. No, I have two, but which one should I tell? Should I tell the one about when I was 17 and my roommate's half-sister murdered her 3 kids, or should I tell the one that actually happened to me? I think I've told you this story personally, Gray, about the one where the lady tried to blow up the house.
Yeah,
you
but
remember that one?
You mean, isn't that the same one regarding with your dad and everything?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell the first part about my dad, though. I'll tell the second, the
I know, but it's such a
story
huge, complex story. I mean, you're just leaving out.
Yeah, I can't talk.
Okay.
I know. I can just sum up my dad's part of it.
Yeah.
So which one should I talk about? The one about my roommate's half-sister who killed her kids, or the one about when the lady tried to blow me in the house up?
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Let's do a poll.
Well, no. How about you do the one with? I think it'd be better at some point to. Well, why don't you could tell the one about the house being blown up. That way, and just maybe someday you'll be able to come on and go over the whole thing at some point. But
maybe someday. It's hard to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I've actually been having a really hard time actually talking about that at all. And also, it makes me nervous now to talk about it on YouTube because of my other true crime experience on YouTube. But I'll tell the story about the house. Okay, so there was a woman that and a husband, a man and a woman that basically took advantage of my dad, and they ended up killing him, and they stole about $3 million from him over an amount of time, and it started back in 2017. My dad had Alzheimer's, and these people had been kind of grooming him and working on him since 2015. Anyway, they took him out of the house in 2017, and he passed away in 2020, April of 2020. And and one of the things that they bought with his money is they bought this pretty fancy house, and they made the deed in all 3 of the people's names. So the man, the woman, they were husband and wife, and then my dad were all on the deed. And when he passed away in 2020, they wouldn't let me talk to him or anything for 2 years, and well, actually more than that. And I took the woman to court after he died, and I ended up winning our 2 civil court cases, and she's now been indicted by a grand jury and under 4 counts of 4 felonies. And she was arrested. She ended up finally getting arrested, and it's still in court right now for the criminal charges. And there's another criminal charge that just, well, that's another story. Anyway, so after the
yeah, I mean, well, by the way, I just want to, I got to tell everybody, so like, I mean, I've been aware, of this story. We've talked about it for a while. I mean, I remember you saying the show sort of helped at the beginning, like but
yeah,
she turned.
That's why I came to your show.
Yeah, she turned into like a detective, where even her, like I don't know what you say. The people in the government, the law enforcement, district attorney, whatever you want to call them, were like, wow, you should do this.
I presented the criminal, like my binder of all the criminal stuff. I mean, it was like really insane. I presented it to the police in November of 2022. Was it 2022? No, 2021. Yes, November of was it 20? No, it was 2022. November of 2022. So that's when this true crime story happened. Was right after I had presented everything to the police department, who then took it to the state's attorney, and then I presented all my findings to the state's attorney with the police officers, and they ended up taking the case. And they were like, "Whoa, do you want to work for us?" Because they had never seen like so in depth with so much discovery and everything all put together in such an organized way. Like they didn't have to do any work really, because it was all laid out for them. And honestly, like watching like your show and Web Sleuth and getting help from you and from Trisha, I wouldn't have been able to find all that information if you guys hadn't helped me and shown me other resources to look at. I mean, I found so much stuff because of that. So, and coming and watching your show and being in on chat and stuff, I mean, that's when I started chatting. I had been listening to your show like for a while, but I started chatting because of my dad's case. And it was, it was during the pandemic, and it was like a really fun getaway. You know what I mean? So that's that. So eat that, Reddit trolls. Anyway, so when we finally won when I finally won the second part of the civil hearing or civil case, I took the house that they had bought with my dad's money. I took their vehicle. I took everything. Basically, I put this person like on their nose, and I had to go back to the state in which all of this happened. Because I don't live in the same state. I live literally across the country from there. And I went there to basically take the house and get the keys. And then I had made all these appointments to get realtors in there and cleaners in there and all that stuff so that I could sell it. And I had like a pretty short turnaround time before I had to go back to California where I live. And so the day that we were supposed to get that I was supposed to get the keys, I had already met with the detectives that had taken the case. I had told them, like, on this specific day, like in a couple days, I'm taking control of the house. What if she's not out of the house? What do I do? So they talked to their sheriff about just being aware that maybe we would need to have a sheriff there to like literally get her out of the house if she was there or whatever. And they asked me if I wanted a sheriff to come accompany me there when I went there. And I was like, no, I thought I was pretty tough and stuff. So my lawyers called the woman and the man's lawyer. The man died of Alzheimer's, by the way. So at this point, it was just the woman. They called her lawyer to find out if the keys had been dropped off. And my lawyer accidentally said to her lawyer, and this was early on in the day that I was supposed to get the keys, she said, well, my client wants to go pick up the keys. Now, this woman didn't know that I was in town or anything like that, because she's really vindictive and scary. She would leave me these really freaky voicemail. She's like a bad, bad, bad person. And so the lawyer accidentally said, my client wants to come pick up the keys, blah, blah, blah. Do you know when they'll be ready? Well, the time kept on getting pushed back further and further, so I ended up driving out. So where I was staying was about an hour away from the town that the house is in, and the time kept getting pushed back and pushed back. So I had called the police department, like, we may need you to come get this lady out, blah, blah. Finally get a call back from the lawyer, her lawyer, and they're like, the keys have been dropped off. So I was already in the town, and I went over to pick up the keys. I picked up the keys and went directly over to the house. First, I stopped off to get a sandwich, though, because I hadn't eaten all day. So I go over to get the sandwich, and I drive over to the house. I've got the keys in my hand, and this person is, like, really evil. I didn't know if I was going to be walking into the house and it was going to have, like, giant gaping holes. Like, we didn't know.
A swinging axe if you step over a wire, right? Anything.
Yeah, like I had no idea if there was going to be like any issue in the house. So I was a little bit nervous, and also I didn't want to smell her. Like, I just didn't want to. She's such an evil person. So I wore 2 masks on my face to go into the house, and like the kind of COVID masks. And so I went into the house. I tried to turn the lights on in the living room because it was starting to get dark because the time had been pushed back so far. She was really supposed to be out at noon, but it was probably like 4 or something. So in that town, it starts to get dark at that time in November. So the lights in the main room, I couldn't get them to work. And so I went around to all the other, I went around to a couple different light switches, and those ones weren't working either. It was really weird. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so I'm like looking around, and where they kept my dad in this house was in the basement. And there were no lights working, and I was really like, oh my God. Ugh. I didn't want to go down there in the dark because there's no windows in the basement anyway. But I knew that I had cleaners, and I knew that I had a couple different like realtors coming to give bids on selling the house for me the next day, and it was all going to start at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's like getting dark and thinking, if she did something like mess with the electric of this house, then I need to get this taken care of now. This is going to, like, I don't have any time to lose, like I can't really dilly-dally around. This has to be taken care of now. So I go down to the basement, and I mean, it was really awful. I had left my phone in the car because this is a really weird part about, she had been blowing up my phone. I just kept getting these calls like over and over again right after I picked up the keys. And I saw the first one was from her. And then I saw that the rest of them were coming from an unknown number. And I had blocked her number, but I had unblocked it that day. So I reblocked it. So then I'm getting all these calls from unknown number, like crap. So I go back to the car because my phone is in there, and I didn't want to get scared or anything. So I left my phone in the car, and I got there was a flashlight in the rental car, like in the back. It was like part of the car or something. So I pull out the flashlight, and I'm like, I have to go down to the basement. So I went down to the basement, and this is really freaky. So the door to the basement has locks on the outside of it, so they could lock my dad down into the basement, which is, when I saw that, it was creepy. Like really upsetting. So I went down to the basement, and I didn't know where I was going, and there's like more than one room. I'm looking for the fuse box just to see if the fuses are off or something, or if like something has been cut. And I don't know, she could be in that house. Like, she is a really scary person. So I mean, I was terrified. So I went down there, and I went into all these different rooms and all these weird closets, and I found the fuse box finally. And I'm looking at they're all pointed in the same direction, which means they're all on, So I'm like, what is going on? But I look up at the top of it, and this house is like a ton of rooms and stuff, and the main switch for the fuses, there's like this big, huge switch. It's pushed over to off. I'm like, there's a brick there. Like, obviously she had stood on this like cinder block brick thing to turn it off herself. And I reached for it and went to like turn it back on, but then I stopped and was like, yeah, if I do this, what's going to happen? Like, I don't know if she could have screwed with the electric. She could have done anything. So I go back upstairs, I go back out to the car, and I call my lawyer, and I'm like, listen, blah, 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 and tell her the whole thing. She's like, can you call for a 24-hour electrician? And this is like a small town. So I was like thinking, does that even exist out here? I find one. The guy has to drive I think he said he was going to be there in 2 hours. So it was already dark by then because he had to come from another town, which was like an hour away or something. And he comes, and we go back into the house when he arrives, right? First he goes outside and like looks around at the power box or something. Then we go inside, and immediately he goes, there's gas in here. Go, leave. He tells me I go across the street. He runs across the street too. But before we do, I see him go over to the stove, and you hear click, 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 5 clicks. He had turned the gas of the stove on so that it looked like it was off. So she had turned all of the stove burners on, blown out all 5 of the pilot lights, and then clicked it so that it was only a little bit on. So if you looked at it yourself, it looked like all of the stove was off, but it wasn't.
But so it was just kind of like, she was just putting gas into the room. You didn't smell it? Like, is that the kind that you can't smell? Like, there's no egg?
It was slowly coming out, and I was wearing 2 masks because I didn't want to smell her, So that we run across the street, down the street, whatever. He calls the fire department, the police, and no kidding, there's like the entire street is like filled with fire trucks and stuff. It looks like the runway from Die Hard, the movie.
Yeah.
There was just so many lights and stuff, and finally, like, we're there for like a super long time. Everything gets turned off, all this stuff. They're airing out the house. It takes a super long time, but I have to be there still because I need to make sure that we can get the power back on. You know what I mean? Because I have people coming at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I ended up getting a hotel in that town that night instead of driving the hour back. But anyway, also because I ended up having to go to the hospital. But when they finally were able to flip that switch in the basement to turn the power on, every light, the house lit up like National Lampoon's Vacation, like all the lights in the house had been flipped to on. So the light switches in the entire house, even the ones like in the bathroom closet, even the ones that were like the little tiny lights that cover the mirrors and stuff in the bathroom, every light switch had been flipped to on. So what she wanted me to do was flip that fuse box, and every light in the house would have turned on, and then it would have blown up the house.
Yeah, it would have done that.
So, yeah. I mean, that was so scary to me because to me that was like, how does someone even think to, I would never even think to turn on every light switch in the house to every tiny thing. You know what I mean? I would never think to do that. But she's a psycho. And that's what she did. So,
wow.
So that was the story. That's
just one of the things. Did they ever get her on that?
Yeah.
And attempted anything, or they weren't able to?
That's part of her charges. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of charges now.
Yeah.
So. Is she in jail? No, she bonded out. Wow. So she is bonded out because the second set of charges has not been. She has not been charged yet for the second set of charges. And that's another long story. It has to do with the medical examiner and stuff. Not medical examiner, I'm sorry, forensic pathologist. So, but anyway.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get the light. I'm glad you didn't click the buttons or get them on. Turn on the lights.
I know. So Holly, she had a $200,000 bond for her felony charges for like elderly abuse, exploitation of an elderly person, exploitation of a disabled person, because my dad had Alzheimer's, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she had no money, but she was able to bond out on $20,000 bond.
Yeah, well.
Interesting.
I hope you do well in the bigger trial coming up at some point.
I mean, it's still going. That's the thing. These things take forever. So it's like this one for the financial exploitation, that one is still like they're having, what are they called? Those stupid hearings that last like 5 minutes where they check in. So annoying for this one. But
status hearings.
Status hearings, yes, so annoying. But when they bring in the bigger charges, then those will basically trump the current charges, and then it'll start all over again with those charges, So anyway, that's the current story. But my second one, maybe I'll call in another time.
Yeah, you have to do another time. So now there's 7 people on hold. I don't know if you can see that.
See what I did? I brought them.
You did. You like a magnet. You brought them in.
Okay, bye.
Well, thanks for calling in. That was a good one.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Yeah, the other story, I guess, was about her... Wasn't it half-sister something or other murders? Who knows? But thank you. Thanks, Mike D. Experience. And thank you to Hamilton blue stars. I better just put it on like a shot like this because people are like, what's the map? What's the map for? I don't know. It was just on the screen from a different call. It's like sometimes you don't always need the answers for everything. All right, 603, you're on. And thanks, Jenny Penny. Or 8675. Hello, who's this?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. 603, who is it? Who's this?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, the thing's talking to me still. Hey, great. It's Derek from D&K Reck.
Hey, what's going on?
It's still talking to me. Can you hear
I know,
it?
well, that's because you're listening to your show on a device, not just the phone.
No, not that. The operator thing for Zoom keeps talking to me.
Oh, well, I don't know why it would do that. You're on the show already.
You stop now. So.
Oh, weird.
How's it going, man?
Hey, not too bad. Yeah.
You've had some bunch of bullcrap to deal with in the last week.
Yeah, I just kind of, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I do, and
Right. Par for the course.
When I focus in on it, that's when it kind of gets me down. Just that there's,
Right.
people that claim to be this like a moral superior, and yet they're doing exactly what they claim other people do. It's unbelievable. This is what I can say. I am really proud of my channel, and even if guys don't like the way that I do, like maybe there's times where I put myself in prison because I'm trying to raise funds. I'm trying to help support the channel because I do shows every single day. But the biggest thing that we do on the channel, though, that makes a big difference is all the charities. The $62,000, all verified, shown on the screen, every single bit of it. There is no, you can call up identifiers, you can call NCMEC, you can call all of them, and it'll all be true that we gave $62,000. I did from my income, but my income came from all the freaks, okay? So I'm really proud, and it just gets really disheartening when you see a bunch of grown adults running around creating groups and forums to try to disparage somebody because they don't like you. Okay, they're just disgusting people, and that's the truth. They just won't admit it or realize it themselves. Okay, so
I just don't get what's the big issue. Everybody can make money and do all this stuff, but it's such a big deal when you're making the money. It just
my thing is
donate any of it.
Yeah. If I told people I don't donate a nickel, then it'd be okay. But because I donate a huge portion, they want to know every little detail about everything. It's weird.
It is. It's bizarre. I mean, it's just I don't get it because there's a lot of people that are making a lot more and they don't donate a damn thing. No one ever says anything about it.
No.
But because you're donating more than half of it, becomes like this big thing. It's crazy the world we're living in 2023. It's nothing like it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
That's wild.
It's messed up.
It should be illegal
to
do what they're doing, but they're just...
It is. It's just, some shit's just the opposite of the way it really should be.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I want to call in, I have a bunch of, crazy 911 call stories that are crime-related. So does that count? Can I say one of those?
Yeah, you can do one of those.
Okay. So this is back late 2007 and 2008. Beginning of 2008, and there was a 911 call. I want to say it was late night or early morning. It was on a weekend. We responded, and we boarded 2 states. So we did 911 in both 3 or 4 different cities. And we get there. It's a young girl. She was 14, unresponsive. Long story really short. She ended up. They were at a birthday party. She was one of the people attending it. And there was some friction with somebody thinking somebody was trying to talk to their boyfriend or whatnot. And there was a little spat at the beginning of the party, and then everything cooled off. And then, had the birthday party went along. Well, when they woke up, one of the girls was unresponsive. wouldn't move, barely breathing. We get there, bring her to the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. She was losing all of her motor functions, wasn't responsive to anything really. And I think it was like day 4, they figured out that she got rat poison. So somebody had put rat poison in ice cream. And it's the reason I know all this is because we transferred that same girl the whole 5 years that I was there, back and forth, because we didn't just do 911 calls, you do transports as well, bringing her back and forth to all different kinds of specialists. And she was blind. She never walked again. She had barely any function in one of her arms, but she was basically a thriving 14-year-old who got poisoned. They never figured out who did it. And I don't know if she's alive today, but she's literally like a vegetable.
Wow.
And think of it, it had to have been one of the girls. I want to say there was 8 of them there, but they never figured out who did it.
Could it have been like a family member or somebody that came in and just snuck it in there?
Yeah, it could have been. I remember, this is, a long time ago, but I remember everybody talking about it. It was a big thing there that they thought it was this particular girl. They never found any rat poison. It was just like you think that they would have been able to figure that out, a bunch of kids, but they never did. I just remember the family being devastated because we had to see them every week. They would transport all kinds of specialists. And literally for the 5 whole years that I was there, she was getting transported. And they just, just trying to get any kind of recovery, but they never did.
Jeez. I mean, they had no clue where the rat poisoning came from.
Yeah, they couldn't fight. And but they also got into it late because by the time the police were involved, they thought they had taken drugs. I mean, I remember being on scene and they thought she had taken drugs and she didn't, because she wasn't responding to anything we'd given her. And she was like in a catatonic state. It was bad. So we knew it wasn't that. We thought it was something else. And the cops, when they started investigating, it was probably like day 4 or 5. So they could have gotten rid of it. You know what I mean? Who knows what they did? But it was just, I remember it was terrible because the whole family. I remember her sister was graduating, and by the time I had left, and she was still, she's never going to be able to do anything. Rat poison is nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And it was hard for them to find, I recall. It took them a while to figure out what it was. So you got to be careful. That's why I'm super cautious.
Yeah, isn't that one of those ones where they
tip over anywhere? Yeah,
it's one of those ones you always see on like some IDTV shows where people try to, they kill you with it and it's hard to detect it. What's the name of it? Hey, thanks, Scout, dude. Wow.
Arsenic.
Yeah. Okay, that's what the actual name is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But I figured I'd call and tell you. I have a bunch of them, but I picked that one. I hope she ended up recovering somewhat, but it was, she would blink. So she could, correspond by blinking, but she had no movement. It was horrible. It scared me so much that, we're even more conscious with where our kids sleep over and whatnot. You never know. There's sick people everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of them. Social media has a lot of them on there.
Social media is the worst.
That's weird.
It really is.
And here I am. This is my arena, social media, but man, it's just filled with just really irrational, crazy people. But thank God there's enough smart, intelligent ones that I don't have to see those too many times when I'm doing my own show. So there you go.
It just comes down to jealousy. That's what it is. They wish they were making the kind of money you could make and donate half. They're probably, think about that, how pissed they get when they're like, how the hell is he donating half the money? Like, I can just picture them, that's, it's sad, really.
Mm-hmm.
To anybody to give you grief about donating that kind of money, come on.
Yeah, no, well, they're mad that I make money too. Like, I might make even more than I donate, but here's the thing, everybody. There's people out there that have jobs, and a perfect example would be somebody, a food truck vendor, something like that, right? who has a food truck, and people come by and they give him money for something. Okay? And that's what I do here on the show. Is like that's kind of the similar thing, because there's people, and it's not this huge, the world population or whatever. And people support my channel, and then I decide that I want to give a whole bunch of it back to charity. And it's weird how they think, whenever I donate money, what they say is, you're just donating other people's money. And it's weird, because isn't that what everybody's...
That's your money.
I know, it's mine. They give it to me. It's like they like what I do, so here you go, Gray. So what's strange about it is that apparently, if the food truck driver had donated money, then it's just him donating everybody else's money too. Or when you get a paycheck from work, since they gave you the money, you should just say, well, my employers donated the money. I just happen to be the conduit because I got a paycheck from them. I mean, it's really, really ridiculous logic that they have. It's crazy.
There's no logic. It's absolutely numb. They're just numb.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it 4 hours a day minimum, and that's just when you're on the screen.
Yeah.
What about all the other crap you're doing behind the scenes? That's where the real work is in.
Yeah.
You say you do the 4 hours. It's 365 days a year. That's
yeah, so, 3 to 4, but usually,
hours.
like every show is usually 3.5, 4 hours. Like that thing is, I always say 3 to 4, but it's almost always over 3.
Yeah, and then the prep. So say another 2, 4, whatever, depending on what the show's going to be. I mean,
yeah, they just don't care.
It's a job. It's a job, Gray. It's a full-time job what you're doing.
That's the second full-time job. It's crazy, but yeah,
it is. So if I wasn't pouring $100,000 plus, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
But But here's the thing, everybody, is I don't want to. We're talking about it right now and stuff like that, but I just don't want to talk about them, because here's what it does: is every time somebody goes, "Great, did you see what they said this time?" It just, I haven't looked at them for a couple days now, and I really just don't. I'm not going to, and I don't want people to send me links. I don't want to deal with it. They can do their own thing. They can try to convince all these people that Gray is this big monster out there. He doesn't do anything for anybody. He's just, he's so terrible. While we're just going to keep on plugging away, funding more and more DNA projects, and it's going to start speeding up here because the one lab kind of fixed what they were doing wrong. And I guess apparently in the Addison County Doe case, you have to tell them the amount of centimorgans you're sending them because they calibrate their machines differently. It's really weird. So that was the problem the first time around. So they can just redo it again by calibrating it differently, and hopefully it'll turn out differently. So we'll see what's going on in that one. But we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And so thanks everybody out there for supporting.
Yeah, bro, if I were you, I wouldn't look at it ever. Like, just the loyal people that are going to, tell them, don't send anything to you, and just... they're not worth the response. They're not worth the time. Yeah,
that's the thing, really, everybody. I just don't even want any. I just don't care. Like it's one of those things where I care that there's people slandering me out there, but at the same time, I'd rather just kind of focus in on what I'm trying to do here, because it's really it's challenging mentally when you think that there's these wackos out there that are constantly conniving behind your back,
Yeah. The funny part is none of them would ever say a word to your face.
Yeah.
None of them.
They'll say that they would. They always say the same thing to me. Oh, you're always, you say this, and it's like, I don't know. Because maybe in person you wouldn't be. See, here's what the deal is, man. I might say something on a show. That's ridiculous. You're an idiot. Get the hell out of here. And I might say that because they said something that they would never say in real life as well, right? So it's just, it just keeps on going, one after the other. Never ends. It feeds itself.
Yep.
But anyways, well, hey, thanks for the story. And what are you up to next? What are you working on?
I just got back a little while ago from Utah, and heading up to New York, or it's going to be Vermont for the next show. They haven't decided yet. That's in 2 weeks, so I have the next 2 weeks off, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know what happens with the case with my partner. Something should be happening with that in the next 2 months.
Yeah, okay.
But
that'd be interesting.
I'll send you the links when it comes in. As soon as I know anything, the news lady usually sends me any updates, and then that's how I find out first.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll just
all
look
right,
forward
brother.
to that.
Have a good night.
It's okay.
And,
It's okay. Anyways, thanks for calling in. It's always good to hear from you. Appreciate it. I'll call you up one of these
All right,
days,
bro.
just randomly on the side. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Call anytime.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
Have a good one. See you.
Talk to you then.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Derek from D&K Reck. Yeah, everybody, hit that like button, would you? And also, as you can see on here, we have how many people are watching? 775. We got 391 not likes. Is there any way we could get that? Like everybody that's watching, just go ahead and hit the button. I mean, it's pretty simple to do, really. You just right below the video, there's this thing with a thumb that sticks up. You click on it. It's weird. Really simple. And that's the like button. Thumbs up. Yeah. Auctioneer for what? Hit the like button. Hit the like button, 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 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, hit that like button.
You want to put 30, sir, 25 of them, you're out. 25, 30,
Hey, thanks, LMM. Now you got to say to Miss Skiss that you're sorry because that wasn't the same person that you were thinking of. She's always been really nice and calls in. She's called in many times over the years and is not the right person. That's not good, LM. It's not hard. Yeah, you like the auctioneer. You might need more auctioneer than that. I don't know. Let me get another call here. How long have we been? An hour and 34 minutes? Okay. (920), you're on.
Hi, Gray.
Hello, who's this?
This is Stereophonics Mom.
Stereophonics Mom. How's it going?
I have my audio turned down. I hope I'm okay. Excuse me.
Okay.
I don't want this story to be about pity. I want it to be about a survivor.
Okay. That's about yourself, or?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
My parent.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying go ahead, but we have a delay, so.
Okay. My mother and father got divorced when I was 9 months old.
You're what now?
And my mother and father got divorced when I was 9 months old.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
It went up to the state. It went up to the state family court. And my mother got custody because she was my mother, in essence.
All right.
And she was already seeing my first stepfather, who was an over-the-road trucker, gone a week or two at a time. And she moved, luckily, near where my paternal aunt taught.
Okay.
And my aunt had come over twice while my mother was trying to drown me. I mean, my aunt came over more than that, but there were 2 times.
What was she doing? Holding her head under the water or what?
Yes, while she was drinking and holding me under, and she was crying, and
Jeez. What was she doing? I mean, why was she doing that in her mind?
later on I found out she never wanted me. She would tell me that right to my face.
Jeez.
And when it was about 4 days before my stepdad would come home, she would take me to my grandmother's sister-in-law, so my great aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have to deal with all of the sores on me because my mother never changed me.
Wow.
And it got to the point where she would lock me in a closet. And have her boyfriends over.
So they wouldn't have to deal with, they wouldn't have to deal with you, right?
Right. They didn't even know I was there. And then she had my brother, and he was one with my first stepfather. And while my stepfather, who I call my dad, was on the road, she would take off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I was 5, and he was in a diaper. I had no clue. We were left dog biscuits.
Dog biscuits. Wow, jeez.
And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Well,
and when she would come home, I would get beaten because my brother was not kempt, quote unquote. And I eventually, my grandmother, my father's mother, got custody back but I still had to go on the summers, weekends, holidays. And they tried to get me into swimming lessons. That didn't work. And they tried everything they could. And yet, up until my 20s, it was like, what did I do? Why doesn't she love me? What can I do? I didn't get it. And she was an alcoholic. She came from a well, I can't say a very good family because I don't know the dynamics. We were chased around with knives, even my dad.
Jeez. How long
And she ended up...
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, how long did it take to get out from underneath all that? Where they weren't around anymore? I mean, did they ever get you out of there? I mean, you were in your 20s and they're still doing stuff.
I ended up graduating from college. I entered therapy. And I had to cut her out.
Yeah.
And it was I moved 600 miles away for a job. And yet she still phone stalked me. I'm going to kill myself. It's all your fault.
What was she trying to do when she would do that?
It was just attention. It was just attention. And my sister, my half-sister, fell right into her. She became her, no matter what I did. And my brother, I felt horrible. He's a paranoid schizophrenic, and I haven't seen him for 20 years. He never met my children, who are my life. I mean, I learned everything not to do. I was terrified to have children. When I found out I was pregnant the first time, it was like a maternal thing to call my mother. And she said, "You're the biggest idiot I've ever met." And she hung the phone up on me.
Jeez. So what, how long did all that keep going? Still? Even now? Or?
She passed away at 55 in 2006.
What did you feel about that?
I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm totally honest. I was relieved.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
She can't abuse me anymore. And there's no energy wasted that could be spent on my children.
Oh, there you go. So how are you doing now?
I'm doing fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, that's good. That sounds like you completely, got through it. It seems like her passing away was sort of like finally you can breathe almost, right? Like the person that's always there in the background, bothering you over and over and over, abused you when you were a kid, and then treated you like garbage your whole life. They're not alive anymore, and you can just finally exhale or something. Right?
Right, and that's not including my biological father. I was just very lucky.
Yeah.
To have my grandmother, my aunt, and my friend.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get out of that.
Me too, and it can be done.
Do you hear that, everybody?
It can be done.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in and telling your story.
And I thank you for letting me share that.
Well, I thank you for sharing and trusting us with the information and telling your story.
Take care, Greg, and thank you for everything you do.
All right, well, have a good one.
Gray.
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay. I know you know what my name is. All right. At least you didn't call me Gary, okay? You didn't call me Gary.
Okay, take care, freaks.
All right, have a good one. See you. Bye. That was pretty cool. Man, I can't believe that some people in the chat are like type in stuff like some of the stuff you were saying about like the pauses and what. Just God, get over yourselves, man. It's unreal. I mean, couldn't you tell that it was hard for her to tell the story and she was trying to formulate her thoughts? God, it's embarrassing, you guys. All right, let's see. 412.
Hey, Gray.
Hey, who's this?
My name's David. I'm calling from Pittsburgh.
What's going on, David?
I'm hold on a second. I'm gonna take you off speaker. There we go. I'm thankful I was able to listen to the last caller. Oh man, I'm so thankful she made it through all of that. That's terrible. I mean, that's holy cow. I never heard much of that.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, holy cow. God bless her, in my opinion. I've got sort of a double whammy true crime. I joined the Marines directly out of high school here in Pittsburgh, and I went to Paris Island, and then I got to choose East Coast, West Coast, or overseas. I chose West Coast because, I didn't want to go that far from home. So I ended up in Camp Pendleton, spent 4 years. From Camp Pendleton, I spent 18 months in Japan, all peacetime. Everything was perfect. I got out. I had 4 years of reserve time to serve, so I did it from Port Hueneme, just a couple weekends a month. I went up to Santa Barbara for school. My first apartment, I was 18 months older than everyone, first of all. So I kind of got to pick where I got to live, and I got a really nice place there in Isla Vista. Got signed up for school, got registered for my classes, and David Adias occurred right there, directly outside of my place.
Which one?
David Adias.
I don't remember that one.
He was He was the son of the director of The Sopranos at the time. He ran 12 people over, killed 5 of them.
Okay. Well, what was the story you were going to tell? I didn't really understand.
Well, that was the story.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the story. I mean, we had to like take the blankets from our couches to cover people up because it took way too long for the local police to show up. So it was.
Oh, okay. Well, I kind of missed part of that because I was actually trying to look at something there. So you actually had to go outside and like help.
Yeah, I guess the gist of my story was I served 4 years in the Marines, all peacetime, and then as soon as I got out of the Marines, I went to go to college, and
war breaks
2 weeks
out.
after I got out, it was a war broke out directly in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange stuff. Yeah, and then 6 months later, September 11th happened, and I think we're talking over each other.
No, we're not talking over each other. I'm not sure if you have an echo or a delay or what you got. I'm not saying anything.
I'm just talking on my cell phone. I have the YouTube paused on the TV, so I think. In any case, so then 6 months later, September 11th happened. So my reserve unit that I was in, because I became a reservist, activated, and then so I was gone for a while, and I went through that, and then I came back. I finally got honorable discharge, fulfilled my duty, went back to Santa Barbara, and I was there for maybe 9 months, and then Elliot Roger happened.
Oh, jeez, yeah. We just covered that.
I was in Santa Barbara for both of those shit shows.
Well, I've shown it on the map. Where you want to live is right in the center of the United States in a small, tiny little town. Maybe like, and because like I have all the cases that I covered. If I turn them all on, like there's pins for all of them, and if I turned them on,
well,
it would show you that there's this little, maybe that's even the Bible Belt, whatever the hell it is. But there's not as many crimes out there for sure, or at least popular ones.
My girlfriend tells me that like I'm the Forrest Gump of tragedy. Like, the things just occur around me. And like I hope that's not true because holy cow.
Well, maybe you've had some downtime, right? Because Elliot Roger was a few years back. So
it was a long time ago. And again, I'm back in Pittsburgh again. So I couldn't deal with California. But like when the plague broke out, I went to Bozeman, Montana. And I was there for like 7 months with a Marine Corps buddy. And I tell you what, if you've never been to Montana, I recommend it.
No, I was just there, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, good.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you were. It's incredible. I mean, it's incredible. I had no idea how big that damn state was. It looks like a triangle in the middle of nowhere. Or, I'm sorry, a rectangle in the middle of nowhere. But it's actually gigantic.
Well, Wyoming's the one that looks more like a rectangle. Well, Montana looks kind of weird. I don't even know what shape it is.
It looks
really.
much smaller on the map. It's actually the size of New York and Pennsylvania put together.
It looks like
People
it's almost
don't
as
realize
big as Oregon and Washington. It looks like if I was visually looking at it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Driving across I had no idea. I was just like, what is going on? When will it end? But thankfully, they have that giant lake at the end of it that makes it all worth the drive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I heard there's a lot of like volcanoes and crap over there too, right? Isn't that where that huge super caldera is in Montana? Like that, I mean, they're not active, obviously, but I think that's where it was.
You would know better than me.
Well, how would I know better than you?
When I was there, I lived in an apartment in Pittsburgh, and I had a buddy in Montana, and I was just like, I'm not gonna do this plague thing with these people. So we went out there, and I think the day I landed, there was 1 case of COVID, And the day I flew out, there was 1 case of COVID in the whole state. And
Yeah,
that's
well,
where,
everybody's so spread out over there. When you're in
Yeah,
the big
they-
cities, you sit right next to
Social
one guy that coughs
distancing.
and 20 people get it.
Yeah, well, but they're naturally social distancing. I mean,
Right, they're like, everybody's really
That's it.
far apart from everybody.
yeah.
So, all right.
It was pretty awesome.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
for taking my call.
Yeah, well, thanks for. I'm glad you found a lull in living somewhere where there's a whole bunch of people being shot up as soon as you move
No,
there.
I mean, I tried to. I mean, if you don't make light of it, what can you do? Like, it's not my fault.
Yeah, it's definitely not your fault. I mean, you know,
I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny.
well, it is
in
pretty
any way.
funny. It is pretty funny. I mean, it's funny that you go you just sort of get out of the It's ironic, maybe not funny. That you get in the military during
absolutely.
peacetime, 4 years, you get out, and then you live 2 places where a bunch of horrific events happen.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot.
Thanks
Appreciate
a
it.
lot.
Have a good one.
Peace. Man.
Yeah. $703. You're on.
Hey, Gray, how's it going?
No, not too bad. Who's this?
It's Bill from Fairfax. Thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm. What's
And
going?
you actually took one of my super chats a couple weeks ago. Thanks for doing that. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could take a super chat? And
What do you mean by
connect
take
to
a
that?
super? What do you mean by that? Like read it on the air, or what do you mean by that?
Oh yeah, it showed up on YouTube.
Yeah, they all show up on there in the.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you could take super chat and it would shock that collar you were wearing?
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool, man. Wow, that'd be. Oh, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I should probably do that sometime. Yeah. Yeah, I should do that. Oh man. Unfortunately though, nobody heard anything you just said, so hey, good times. Good times. Bye bye. Yeah, he was saying that it'd be funny to set up the collar that I had on, or it wasn't a collar, it was a pillow around my neck, but set it up as a oh yeah. Yeah, you're still there. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not. What do you mean YouTube? I'm on YouTube. You're on Zoom, you idiot. Hey, but dummy. Hey, dipshit. You're on Zoom, not YouTube, you stupid ass. You're on Zoom, not YouTube. Oh, okay. You're so smart. Get the hell out of here. All right. Let's see. Yeah, he just kept saying the same thing over and over and over again. He goes, hey, you learn how to use YouTube. Well, it wasn't YouTube, it was Zoom. All right, guys, we're going to need the troll funds right now. That's how the trolls get backlashed. If not, then nothing happened. All right, but there was a troll saying they should make it so if super chats show up, they can shock the caller. And they can make me stroke out on the air by shocking my caller over and over and over again. Hey, thanks, the scouting dude. And thanks, trolls. It's always nice when you call in. Had such a doofus voice, too. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Thanks, scouting dude. Vegas Andrews. And there it is. Quietly Frozen. The coolest name in YouTube history. By the way, the Blazers just had the dumbest game ever. They were down 14, then they got up 25, and then they lost by 9. I mean, how in the hell is that ever even a possible anything? Thank you, Mary Crossley. Thank you very much, Troll. First of all, I want to thank you very much for the troll activity there. Thank you, Donna D. Isn't that weird to sit on hold that long just to come up with something really stupid? Like, it's not even funny. There's nothing clever about it. And you sound, not only that, you sound like a doofus. I mean, just got an IQ of a frog, you know? Just, whew, wow. Scary times. Thanks, Streets of Murray, Gummo, and Janallison. Welcome, Ray Deathray. By the way, yes, if you'd like to become a channel member, that'd be awesome. All right, here we go. Let me get this one right here. 347, you're on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep. Who's this?
Miss Giff.
Miss Giss. How's it going?
I'm doing good. I was like, let me mute my TV because he's going to be like, turn it off, turn it off.
Yep. Well, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just life and every day, living every day.
Yeah.
And peeping in your channel, you know, I'm not always in the chat like I used to be. A lot of the times you're on a little later. Well, you're on late, but I can't stay up as late as I used to.
Yeah.
Too much, too busy. And just always too tired. But, I mean, life is better than it used to be.
Well, good.
Definitely better than it used to be. I found a new love. He's been heaven sent. Guess where he lives? In Idaho.
Oh, Idaho, huh?
Yeah.
Where at?
What, Spring Creek?
Spring Creek.
Rodwell, Spring Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah, and my son came to live with me, and just to foreclosure for everyone, I only have one son, and he is not deceased. So just in case for everyone who misunderstood it.
Yeah, I think she was thinking of somebody else, but she doesn't want to admit it. I mean, she doesn't remember.
It's okay. I'm not even stressing that because, I mean, I didn't see the comment. You know, I was in your chat on one occasion, and I think you were covering a Delphi case.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably about the most 2 to 3 weeks ago. I could be off, but not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I just remember asking a question. I don't really remember what the question was, but it was a reasonable question. It wasn't, to me, I didn't think it was anything stupid. And she came out and she said something rude, and I don't even really remember too much.
Well, she might have even thought you were that person on. She might have thought you were that person on that one.
Right.
So maybe, you know,
Yeah,
it's like this long-running thing, and maybe your name sounds like I mean, I don't really know, but
right.
You know, because I think what she was referring to when she was somebody. I remember somebody kind of liked what she was saying. I just don't remember who that was.
Well, I remember someone that we had in chat who said that she lost her eye and at her job.
Oh, remember that one?
And that she was wearing the patch. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Didn't she do a GoFundMe page?
Yeah. So I was actually wondering if that was the.
Like that?
I think I was wondering if that was the person. Yeah, because
Well, I don't know if that person lost a son or not. I'm not sure, but I do remember that situation. I just don't remember the person's name. I remember the person used to be in chat a lot. Well, not a lot.
Yeah.
But she was a member for a long time.
She had this patch on her eye and
after
said from a lawnmower accident that a shard of glass took her eye out, and then all of a sudden you see her out there and she's got an eye. Her eye's working again. It's weird. It was weird.
That's freaking crazy. That's insane.
Yeah.
But if she lied and she created a GoFundMe, isn't that like a fraud? Don't you get in trouble law-wise by it?
Probably.
Like, well, anywho, well, I'm pretty sure maybe she mistaked me. Hopefully not for that person because we look completely different. And I only have one son, and thank God he's 21 and healthy, and he's here with me now. And I've never created a GoFundMe page.
Well, cool.
So, definitely a different person. But since I had that little incident with her the first time, I just blocked her because I saw how she would talk to everyone, and I really don't affiliate with people that way. And I'm not trying to bash or downgrade anyone, but I don't have time for it. So that same day, I blocked her. So if she writes anything about me, I'm not able to see what she wrote about me yesterday or past tense or whatever, or now. I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
I just don't affiliate. I don't have time. The older you get, the less time you have and the less to tolerate people, I don't have time. I truly don't, But I don't have a true crime, but I can tell you at work there was a little arson that was committed at my job.
Oh yeah, what happened there?
I had a retarded customer. Well, I won't say retarded because then they're gonna say I have issues with people who have disabilities. But a crazy customer came into the store on one occasion, and he wanted to exchange his coins for bills, for dollar bills. So I said to him, we don't exchange coins for bills, but I'll do you the favor and I'll change it for you today. But remember, don't come back here tomorrow asking for me to change your change because I'm not going to change. So I changed it for him, and I guess on another occasion he came in on a day that I was off, and the other manager must have changed it for him or told him she wasn't going to change it, and he threatened her or whatever. So I came and I worked that weekend, and I guess since he had threatened the other manager, he came to try to get his change exchanged, and I told him no. And I said, the last time you was here, I told you I was doing you a favor. I don't have to change your change. You can go somewhere else with that. So he got mad, and he lit the trash can on fire. So then I was working by myself, so I really didn't have anyone else there with me. But then he left like a little scaredy cat. So I went out, and I had to turn off the fire. And I grabbed a cup of water, poured it in the trash can, went back in, grabbed another cup of water, poured it in the trash can, and then just decided to bring the trash can into the store. Which, the reason why I'm telling you this, because it sounds so stupid, is because when you're in a predicament, that even though I wasn't scared for my life, I was just more upset and shocked that he actually did what he did. When you're in situations, you don't react the way you should react. People probably like, well, why didn't she just grab the fire extinguisher that was right behind her? I didn't. Because in my mind, I wasn't even thinking or remembering that the fire extinguisher was there. I was just acting like, let me just get the water right away. Like sometimes when you're in predicaments, you just do things that don't make sense. So, not to bring up the case, but in the Idaho case, why the girl took so long to call, maybe she was scared. Maybe she thought that dude was still there. Maybe she was hearing things that weren't even there.
They said.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what she said.
They
did think that. I mean, she was just petrified, just sitting there wondering, God, I'm going to be as still as I can. I don't want to make a noise. And then you're not really sure when you can move again. That's how I would be.
Yeah, it's scary. That's a scary situation to be in. So,
or it was when I was a kid.
Minor.
What was that?
Yeah, mine was minor. My situation was minor, but the way I reacted, even though I wasn't afraid, I obviously felt something because I didn't react how I should have reacted.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because as I sit and I think about it now, I'm like, damn, that was dumb. Why the hell did I grab a cup of water when I could have just grabbed the fire extinguisher? I still think about it like, that was so stupid. But you act on impulse. You don't act on rational thoughts, and I guess that some people just can't understand. But anywho, great. I haven't been up to nothing. I'm still loving your channel. I'm still loving what you do. You keep doing what you do, and I love the fact that you don't let how people treat you change the way you run your channel.
Nope.
And I appreciate all the hard work you do.
Well, thank you.
And I'm going to always be a Grant Hughes member, even if I'm not always in the chat. I'm watching.
All right. Well, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks for calling.
Sorry about all the trolls.
That's all right.
And I'm glad to see your channel has grown.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Have a great night.
You too. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Miss Gus. 509.
Hi, Gray. It's Amber.
Oh, hey, Amber. What's going on?
How's it going?
Yeah.
Nothing. I just thought I'd call about Cassie.
Yeah. So maybe you could tell us more about that one.
First I wanted to thank all the freaks for sharing their stories tonight, the ones that did. I know that's hard to do. And I also want to thank you for covering Cassie's story, because she made such a difference in the world. She was an incredible mom and an amazing person that advocated for mental illness and the patients. And maybe sharing her story will help make a difference now that she can't. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Where do you want me to start? Like the crime or court or?
Well, you could probably just talk about, but even before, how they were, just kind of like, you don't have to do like a long story version. I mean, just tell.
Yeah. So I met Josh personally. I went from night shift. I had been a medical nurse for 20 years and switched to psych nursing. And when I went to day shift, Josh really became my mentor. I'd never been a psychiatric nurse before, and he was charismatic and kind and great with the patients. I told many friends before, he would sit on the ground, and our floors in a state hospital are not clean, and when they were having breakdowns, and be empathetic with them. I did hear some rumors about, him kind of being a ladies' man, but nothing with domestic violence. And
Is he that bald? He's like a bald-headed guy, kind of.
Yeah, he's not very cute. I don't know about the charismatic, but yeah, he shaved his head.
And he's got a tattoo. What was he? What kind of work was he doing?
He's an RN like me. He was actually the unit manager, and I became his right-hand man. I filled in for him when he would be house supervisor at times for the whole hospital, and so I would fill in on the unit when he was there. Yeah, he ran the whole unit our unit is adult psychiatry 18 and over, forensics and non-forensics at times. So he was involved very deeply also in evaluating patients, whether they were saying to face criminal charges, such as what he did. So he was there for 20 years, so he had huge knowledge of how that process works. I met Cassie. She was a mental health tech, which for health care professionals is kind of like a nurse's aide. So she backed us up. She was the backbone of our unit. She helped with the patients, and she floated. So she'd come to our floor probably 3 or 4 times a week, and she was amazing. The patients loved her. Her smile was the best. And anyway, he was with a girl on a different side of the hospital when I first came there, and they broke up. And there were some weird hush-hush rumors about it, that it was a bad breakup, that we didn't really know what was going on until after Cassie was murdered. And then a few months later, him and Cassie started dating. I got injured, so then I was on my leave of absence when all of this happened. And then just out of the blue, one of my friends called me and said,
Wait, so what's this first
Josh,
one? So he was with somebody else and she got murdered?
He was with somebody else that was another mental health tech that was on an opposite unit of our hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out later that when they broke up, he attempted to strangle her, went to court and everything. She got a restraining order. He didn't lose any time at work. He got to hand her assignments, even though there was a restraining order when he was house supervisor. He continued to stalk her even when he was with Cassie. Nobody knew about. She actually fled after trying to get the hospital to help her, and they wouldn't. She fled Spokane. She left the city. So Eastern State Hospital is actually being sued by Cassie's family and the ex-girlfriend for how it was handled. So that's another aspect of this crime. So then anyway, I wasn't there when it happened, and I had to hear about it. But they had broken up. He had started abusing her. In fact, she got arrested about a month prior to the killing because he said that she had attacked him when she was just defending herself. So anyway, 2 months later, she finally broke up with him, told everybody that she was being abused. Her dad came and changed her locks on her house. And her and her little girl were going out to their garage to go get the other kids. She had 2 older kids, early teenage years. And he was waiting in the garage. He parked his car 2 blocks away and hid in the garage and attacked them both. And like you said, I often wonder who was attacked first, but I want to think that Cassie fought hard for her baby. And
it's almost like Photos Duos, kind of.
Yeah.
The way he went in the garage like that. It's kind of like Photos Duos.
Yeah, he was hiding.
Yeah,
he was hiding in the garage for her. So the kids come home because her ex-husband's like, why hasn't Cassie picked up the kids? And he just drops them off, kind of mad that Cassie didn't pick up the kids, and drove off. And so those poor kids hear car engines going in the garage, but can't get into the garage. Thank God. Thank God they couldn't get in the garage. So they called 911 and called their dad back, and that's when they found, Cassie and Lily, and Josh was laying under the car exhaust, supposedly trying to kill himself from the car exhaust. And here we are 2 years later. He sat in jail, and he had 3 different mental health evaluations trying to say that he was insane, and he knew how to work the system, but he didn't, thank God. And he was found competent about 6 months ago. And then just this week, I went to court, and he pled guilty. They dropped the aggravated charges, so it was just first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder without the aggravating circumstances. And we have the sentencing on February 3rd, and he'll either get 436 months in prison, or hopefully the judge, how she kind of hinted at in the courtroom, will give him more. What was really interesting is he came in a wheelchair, this strong 6'6" man that could kill somebody, 100 pounds heavier. Didn't even recognize him at first until I heard his voice. It was very, very interesting seeing him again and what 2 years in jail has done to him.
Yeah, so why wasn't there any aggravating circumstances?
That's the deal they came to. Those were the original charges. I think they just wanted to save money. They didn't want to pay for a trial, Gray, which just upsets me because he deserves nothing less than no chance of parole.
I mean, the judge should give him, I don't know what the guidelines for increasing it would be, but we'll give him 40, at least 47 or something, where he's 90 freaking years old. Like, he won't make it that long. I mean, I
want him to have no hope.
Yeah.
No hope of getting out of jail. That's what I want.
Yeah, it's better just to say no parole. I mean, no, but he has to get a sentence, right? Like, so what you should do is probably 60 years and then he's 103,
I'd be happy with that. I don't know. I think dropping the aggravated takes away the no parole thing, but she can give more. And she asked him twice, point blank, you understand, I don't have to follow this plea deal when at the sentencing hearing. Before you plea, I need to make sure you know this. And he said yes. So I'm hoping that, and they blocked the whole morning off to make sure that everybody has a chance to speak to the judge before the sentencing. So I'm hoping that she doesn't follow the plea deal.
Is there a time in Washington where you get brought up for parole, like a mandatory number of years, like every after 25 years? Or is this one of those things where he has to serve 35 years, then you can be considered for parole or something?
I'm not sure. She said something about because it's 2 different charges, he has to serve consecutive. So even if he was up for parole for the first crime, it doesn't matter. That one doesn't count. So I don't think he could face parole until he was parole eligible for the second crime. So I don't know how all that works. I'll have to research it. I guess I'm kind of waiting for the sentencing. But it's been a rough 2 years. I've really learned a lot about the justice system, how slow it is, and how these victim blaming people affect families. I've seen it firsthand, and I think that's why I'm such an advocate for victims, because it's just horrifying to watch.
Yeah. Well, were they doing that in this case? Blaming the victim?
There was some of it. Cassie had 2 marriages prior, so she had 2 kids, and then Josh and her, the arrest, there was some question about her arrest, whether she was the aggressor. I think that a lot of that got poo-pooed quite quickly because of the circumstances. It doesn't matter, what the circumstances are. She was an amazing woman. She wasn't even the aggressor ever. He did that with the ex-girlfriend. It came out too. He put the ex-girlfriend on a 3-day hold in a psych hospital once because he knew the proper words to use. He was, a psychiatric nurse. So
it's weird how long this is.
Girlfriends were crazy.
It's weird how long this is taken, because I remember we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
2021. She was murdered in April of 2021.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you called. I don't know if that's when I met you or something like that when we were talking about it one time.
I started watching you with Madeline. No, not Madeline. Is it Mackenzie? Who is the one that took off with?
Yeah, something like that. Maddie Bell.
Yeah, her boyfriend.
Madison
Yeah,
Bell.
Maddie Bell. There it is. But yes, that's when.
The only reason I remembered that is because of Zozo up there, who always says, "Chucking a Maddie." Right? She says, "Chucking a Maddie."
I love
so
it.
then I remembered Maddie and then Maddie Bell. That's pretty funny.
Yep. Yep, that was a great one.
Yeah.
You were the only one that called it, by the way. Everybody else was searching everywhere for her and thought she was dead, and you're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, remember that's very similar to it's like Debbie Collier or something like that. I was just saying, no,
yes,
look at.
yes.
She goes there, she gets into somebody's car, and then after I spoke to the sheriff, he gave me more details. Remember, I had all the sort of like. Oh, then she went to the store, and then it was like, oh, come on. I mean, she left on purpose.
Yep, your instinct is always right on. I'm always shocked because even I'll
Not every
agree with
time,
you on a crime, and then it comes out you're right. Not every time, but most of the time.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know. I think it's kind of. I just try to look at something and not the sensational way, so then it sort of turns out where you're more likely to be right. Because once you start, when you have an imagination, I mean, every once in a while that helps, but having an imagination every time, like usually imaginations are okay once you've exhausted the more rational look at something. And then once that's used up, then you can start, imagining and trying to figure out if there's some other thing. But a lot of people go right there first. So, that's why they get this whole story worked up in their mind. They picture a crime. They just know exactly what happened. I've got chills. That's what so they've got it all in their mind. They've got it all worked out. Everything makes sense to them. But it doesn't actually make sense given the known facts, but they'll just stick with it. And then if you disagree with them, they get really angry at you because you're looking at something from a different, it's not, doesn't agree with what they're saying. Now people will say that's what I do, but I the thing is it's not like that. What I do is I come up with something based on factual information, put together a theory, and then somebody will counter it with something that doesn't take in the facts, and it's just a thought or a feeling they have, and then they get angry when I say, that doesn't make any sense because you're missing this and you're missing that. And then that's where a lot of people get their feelings hurt, and they get angry, and it just is what it is.
You know what I also learned from you is what facts to pay attention to and what ones probably don't matter. We go down rabbit holes that don't even matter so much, and you've really taught me which rabbit holes to skip.
Yeah, like you can do a case, and then there's something totally off to the side that has nothing to do with the case, but people want answers there. And it's like, well, who cares? I mean, I would say the same thing regarding the Dylan Mortensen.
Yes,
when people just keep wanting to wonder why the 911s, even after they've arrested Brian Koberger.
Yeah, why is our first response not like, like with Cassie, we feel awful. Why isn't it with Dylan? We should all be like, oh my gosh, imagine the living nightmare Dylan went through.
Mm-hmm.
Not, well, why are those hours missing and why is that? She's not involved. Obviously, the cops would have found that out right away. Let's feel empathy for her. I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
Well, thanks again. I appreciate you so much. And you have really been there for me through Cassie's story. And I think it's important for everybody to hear Cassie's story because it can be anybody. Because she was a strong, independent woman. She had her own home. And she was a wonderful mom. And if anybody can fall victim to that, anybody can if she can. So there are monsters everywhere. And they even come in the form of a psychiatric nurse that has helped hundreds of patients.
Yeah.
And taught me a lot of what I know.
That's right.
And I think that was the most shocking thing, too. I mean, I would have never guessed in a million years that he was a monster.
Yeah, and he's your boss.
Yeah.
That's weird. Not anymore.
Anyway, thank you for taking my call. No, definitely not anymore. Now he's faking in a wheelchair so he can go to a better ward at Walla Walla State Penitentiary. And
yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for calling in and getting us filled in. I'm glad justice will finally be served. We just hope it's a little bit more years than the 36 years.
Yes,
or whatever.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. And no parole until at least a minimum of... I mean, if they do pick 36, then don't give him parole until after 30. Like, I mean, even a chance. Like, he has to serve... I would make him be 73 years old before they even... consider
thought about it.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be good because I don't think he'll last that long.
I don't either.
But I just want him to have no hope.
Yeah, I think it'd be better to have nothing,
out.
you know. But hopefully,
Yep.
if he does get that sentence, that the parole chance doesn't start till almost near the end of that time. Not like,
I
oh,
agree.
after 20 you can get, you know. And he acts like, because he
Yeah,
knows the
that would
psych
be
shit,
nothing,
right?
yeah.
He's somebody that could trick
Yeah,
people, you know. So.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thanks again, Gray.
All right, well, have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
I see.
Bye.
Amber Maiden. Yeah, the daughter lived. Yeah, Maddie Bell was the one with the girl. She lived with the guy, and then it seemed like she was abducted at first, but it really didn't seem like that because it sounded like she was just somebody that wanted to get away from the life that she had. And turns out that's what was going on. But I don't even know if that. I don't know what that was. Does anybody even know what that? The Maddie Bell thing almost seemed like a fake sort of, you know, hey, we can become famous for a few minutes story. I really didn't even understand it. It's very weird. Well, that was it for the calls. Do anybody want to do the old school newspapers.com? It's another super chat fundraiser thing. You send in a super chat and you say, you do a search of what you think might lead to a cold case or something on newspapers.com. We're 227 into the show. We've done this before. And you type in a phrase, and you know, you give a phrase in the super chat, and then you say something like, you know, Zozo comes up with crazy ones, but hers are always like ice bucket stuck in a face of a, you know, it's like really complex. It's more like, let's see. Body found in barrel or something weird, right? And then you type it in, and you can even give a state, but don't make it a case that you're aware of. That's what I don't want. I don't want you to try to get me to find a case that you're aware of. And if you don't want to play, we can just call it a day. Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I actually spoke to the sheriff, too. Remember that? I talked to the sheriff. They wanted me, in that case, to interview the boyfriend and maybe ask him questions. When I called over there, they go, oh, yeah, hey, we've been listening to It was so weird. The sheriff said, hey, we've been listening to your show. Why don't you ask, if we need to, maybe you can ask specific questions to her boyfriend. But and it turned out it was something else. But as soon as he told me the facts of the case, I go, wait, this sounds like she got in a car with somebody. And thank you, Rochelle Black on PayPal. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Missing persons wallet found. Oh yeah, let's see. And that's the well, West Virginia doesn't have any newspapers.com really. Let me just, I can try it. Let me go right like that. Wallet property found floating on the beach. I could try it. Let me see. The amount placed in this wallet belonging to the God, what is this? This is from 1875. Man, this is all you guys had to cover? some kind of guy with a wallet on his desk. And jeez, wow. All of a sudden my nose got plugged. It's weird. Well, that's it. Alright. Is that everybody? That's all we're doing? Well, you send in a super chat and you say, like this, body found at amusement park in a town called Anywhere, USA. Just kidding. Let's see, body found in amusement park. The body of a newborn infant was found about 3 p.m. yesterday at the rear of a bathhouse in the Wild World Amusement Park in Largo, Prince George County. They reported that an unidentified patron at the park discovered the dead infant, described as either Caucasian or Hispanic and having black hair. The body was wrapped in a rust-colored towel and hidden beneath an air conditioner. Jeez. It's morbid. Thank you, La Bamba. Let me try to guess at what you wanted me to look for. Mummy, a train robber. Let's see. A mummified body found in an amusement park had been identified as a notorious train robber, Elmer McCurdy, who was killed in a Wild West shootout in 1911. The mummy was thought to have been a wax figure until an arm fell off. Oh, jeez. That's a crazy story right there. Look at that one. A mummified body found in an amusement park has been identified as notorious train robber Elmer McCurdy, who was killed in a Wild West shootout in 1911. The mummy, who had probably been going around with this amusement park, traveling, whatever, the mummy was thought to have been a wax figure until an arm fell off. The amusement park at Long Beach found it had a real body when the arm fell off and exposed bone last Tuesday. The owner of a touring carnival, which once owned the body, says McCurdy was mummified after his death and put on display as a sideshow attraction. Once a common practice. Oh boy. That's a strange one right there. Yeah, that's a good one there, Jessica Schubach. Wow. You could probably make an entire YouTube video on that one. Yeah. Wow. Just wow. Yep. The good old days, huh? God, they used to mummify people. Or, like taxidermy people. Well, Marlene, do you have any extra stuff to add to that? Because there's a lot of people that were killed by an axe. I'll do it, though. Killed with axe. Ohio. Axe body found in wrecked auto. The body of a Ravenna man was killed by several axe blows on the head. Was found in a wrecked car in suburban Lakewood. I wonder if he got attacked and tried to drive somewhere for help and then crashed. Mitchell was arrested a short time after the car carrying Rayfield's body crashed. Oh, so that's different. During a 90-mile-an-hour chase, the car was fleeing the scene of an accident. Mitchell, who was armed with a .32 caliber, was apprehended by Rocky River police along the Nickel Plate Road tracks. He did not resist arrest. So he must have attacked somebody and then was driving him somewhere. Husband jailed as police probe Florida slang. This is 1930 right here. Burton today ordered coroner's jury to reconvene immediately for further investigation of the slaying of Mrs. William R. Carver, her young son Lee and Ben Whitfield, a black servant William R. Carver, her husband, former Philadelphia real estate operator, was arrested yesterday and held for questioning after telling authorities he killed Whitehead, who he said had claimed his wife and child. I don't know what that means. The black man's wife, son, in his testimony to a coroner's jury Wednesday, coroner said Whitehead killed Mrs. Carver with an axe when she awoke and found him robbing her room. Huh. Well, there you go. I guess axes, they are used. All right, let me do this one. Body found. Oh wait, but you're trying to get me to a specific story, Mitchell, because we've covered that one on here. Remember the body found in a tree? You broke the rules. But we'll do it anyways. Well, I guess there's more of them though. Here's one. See, this one right here might be really interesting. Maybe. It says, girl's body found under tree was strangled, then cremated. Only few clues aid searchers. Body is charred beyond recognition. Third outrage of kind. This is back in 1929 in Ohio here. Let's see. The leering, hideous specter of another torch murder baffled detectives today as they sought not only to apprehend the friend who strangled and cremated a young woman under a blossoming apple tree on the outskirts of the city, but also to establish the identity of the victim whose body was charred beyond recognition. Seared fragments of a flowered cretonne house dress, a milk bottle reeking with the odor of kerosene, a pair of snakeskin slippers, and dental bridgework in the girl's mouth. These constituted the patchwork of slender clues out of which police hoped to bring to justice the perpetrator of the third outrage in a year in which a human body has been made a funeral pyre. The body was found late Saturday by Joseph Selvey, a steam fitter's helper, and the horror of his discovery sealed Selvey's lips for 6 hours. Police not learning of the gruesome find until late Saturday night. A squad of detectives was hurriedly dispatched to the scene, and medical examiner Amos O. Squire immediately performed an autopsy on the pitiful scorched body. The examination disclosed that the girl had been strangled, perhaps by her own nightgown, before her slayer had transformed her body into a flaming human torch. Dr. Squire, who has conducted hundreds of autopsies in Westchester County, was horrified at the condition of the girl's body. The victim, he said, was about 21 years old, 110 pounds in weight, and about 5 feet 4 inches tall. She had reddish-brown hair, blue eyes, small ears, and a slightly turned-up nose. 2.5 miles from the murder scene, a sleuthing reporter found a bundle of girls' clothing wrapped in a New York newspaper dated April 14th. The bundle contained just necessary traveling requisites, and police are working on the angle that the slayer lured the girl from her home by a promise of marriage and murdered her. I don't know, man. Probably a little bit more to it than that. I'm going to have to store this one somewhere over here. I gotta look that one up. I gotta see what the hell happened in that one. Well, there you go. Mitchell, that's the one I came up with. It looked like there was a whole bunch of them, though. This one is body found in tree, 1 3/4 miles from crash. So that must have been like just trajectory. That's crazy. What's this one? Body found against tree in wood north of Akron by 2 boys. The cunning of a man, young, well-dressed, and apparently of superior breeding, whatever the hell that means, who had removed all clues as to his identity before shooting himself to death in a wood northwest of Akron Saturday, has successfully baffled police. Who he was, where his home was, and why he fired the 2 fatal bullets into his body, 2 of them, are unanswered questions. 2 bullets. So where did he shot himself twice? Doesn't make any sense. All right, still wearing Santa suit. All right, let's try that one. And it has to come up with something. Well, let me put the quotes around it. Like this. That means it has to have that. Yeah, so that doesn't even exist anywhere. Hey, I gave it a shot. Valerie. Didn't seem like it had anything. You probably mean like the killer still had his Santa suit on or something, I don't know. Or Santa Claus was killed while still wearing his Santa suit. Body in chimney. The decomposed body of a man believed to be a burglar was found stuck in a chimney by volunteer firefighters and sheriff deputies who cracked open an ornate fireplace at a weekend retreat. People heard rapping sounds from the house last week, but were unable, to find the source of the noise. That means they were alive and they were trying to get out. Homeowners Bill Cephalos called deputies after he reached up the 10 3/4 inch by 16-inch chimney and found the man's leg hanging down. So that almost matches the one by Valerie. You know, the guy was almost a Santa Claus, right? He was, well, not quite. All right, syringe poisoning. Is it really going to pop up with that? See, this isn't, newspapers.com isn't a search thing. You got to type in the way the words would show up in newspapers.com. So let's see. That exact sequence does not show up anywhere. And it's not like you're poisoned by a syringe. It's what was in the syringe. So, I don't know, Plato. Think of a different way to word it or something. Yeah, well, that's not what we're doing, Miranda. You're just typing a phrase and we're looking for something, not an exact. I'll put that whole phrase in there. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Actually, let me go back to the one that Plato had for a second. Because it looked like I had a specific to Ohio here. Huh. Well. Warns against plastic. Hospital stay, maybe fatal. Da, da, da. Well, I tried Play-Doh. Just nothing popped up. Lilac Moon. Actually, let me type in this. Kevin Arts Jackson. Nope. Is that really how you do it? Nope, not in there, Miranda. Body found in Persian rug at local landfill. Alright, here we go. And no. How about if I just stop it right there? Body found, get rid of in. No. Sorry about that. Don't worry about it, Miranda. It's too slow. It's too much. You got too many words in it. You're trying to find something that's not what the goal of this is. See? That's what I'm trying to tell you is like you're doing. That's not what we're doing. The goal isn't for you to tell me a case to look up. It's to type something in to find something that, like that one case we just found a minute ago that nobody's heard of. Well, they don't have Jackson at the last name. It's Kevin Arts in here. And you said it was in Michigan, so that's where this guy is. A restaurateur accused of killing his wife, then cutting her body in his restaurant's kitchen, was convicted of first-degree murder. Kevin Kip Arts, 44, of Jackson. Oh, maybe that's what you meant. You didn't put any commas or anything. Faces an automatic sentence of life in prison without parole when Jackson County Circuit Judge Edward J. Authorities said Arts killed his wife Patricia, 46, with a metal bar in July of 1999, then dismembered and cooked her body for 2 days in their Summit Township restaurant, Kip's Pizza Taco House. Hope he didn't feed her to anybody. Well, there you go. We found it. Body found on cruise ship. Let's see. It seems like we've done this one before. Two bodies found on cruise ship after passengers flee smoke. So that's probably just died from that. These are all the same. All of them. August 1984. Yeah. Music teacher. Alright, let's see what this one is. The Mike D experience. Body found using footprints versus fingerprints. I don't know if they would put fingerprints in the article, that word it that way. So I think if you just left it shorter like that. Or you could do something like footprints lead to... See, what you got to think about is how would an article read it? Would the wording be in an article? Not how would an article read it. How would an article have it worded in the article? Well, there you go. So I worded it differently up here. I said, footprints lead to killer. And then here it's, police hope footprints lead to killer of girls. 1977. And this is in Wisconsin. Authorities hope that 3 fingerprints and a footprint will help identify the person who killed 3 Girl Scouts as they slept in a tent. I think we covered that one. 2 of the girls were beaten to death in their sleeping bags, and 1 was strangled. All were sexually molested. Investigators have been generally closed-mouthed about developments in the case, but there were reports that 3 clear fingerprints had been obtained from the victims' bodies. Officials also theorized that the murderer may have burglared a counselor's tent and nearby farmhouse. One of the 4 counselors who slept in the tent reported Monday that her purse was stolen. In addition, police found a pair of eyeglasses and a glasses case belonging to a counselor along the path where the bodies were dragged in their blood-soaked sleeping bags. Have we done this one? You guys remember, this one sounds familiar, but maybe it isn't. I'm going to put this off to the side, see if it's one of the ones that we've done. It's crazy. 10-year-old Doris Dennis Miller. The girls' bodies were found Monday. Wait, hold on. They have made a cast of other footprints found on the path. 8-year-old Lori Lee Farmer of Tulsa was buried Wednesday. 10-year-old Doris Dennis Miller, also of Tulsa. So let's see, hold on. Well, let's just type in Milner in here. Yeah, there it is. Right? Camp Scott, there it is. Lori Farmer, Michelle Gousset, and Doris Milner. I tell you guys, there just really isn't many cases out here we haven't done. Wasn't that wild though? It's right there. Camp Scott. This one right here. Yeah, I remember doing this one. I think they thought they made an arrest in that one later on. Or I don't know, maybe there's another one in Colorado, I think that was solved. That was that crazy one where I discussed the case, and then the next day, while doing a live stream about the case, they solved it. I mean, it was the weirdest thing in the world. We had no idea. All right, let's see the 8675309 one. So after you do searches on newspapers.com for a while, you sort of learn the words, like what they use, what might lead to a better chance of finding something. But thank you, the Mike D Experience. It led to that interesting one. There it is, 1946. Oh man, I must be sitting right next to a allergy vent or something. Ah, crap, nothing in there. October 21st, this is 1946. Kids always said the house was haunted. It was a 3-story vacant husk, windows boarded up, fingering its foundation. Marshall King wanted a house, and with shortages, what they are, he asked about it. County treasurer officials told him a foreclosure suit was pending to collect delinquent taxes. They gave him permission to inspect it. Sunday, King walked into the house and turned into a bedroom. Sprawled in the dust on the floor was the body of a man long dead. His head was propped against a mattress with a spot of blood on it. King left fast, and 2 detectives arrived. They picked up a newspaper from the floor. It was dated May 19th, 1944. Hey, that's my mom's birthday. I think she was 7 years old or something at the time. A card in a pocket of a pair of pants lying nearby bore the name of John Dugan, about 65. A neighbor lady said that was the name of the caretaker. The last time she saw him was 2 years ago. As stretcher bearers toted the remains out of the house, the kids were there watching. See, they said, it was haunted. Well, there you go. This is another 1981 one. Workers setting up a haunted house discovered a still warm body hours before the Halloween attraction opened, police said. No arrests have been made in the shooting death. Unidentified shooting victim, the Miami Park haunted house opened as scheduled at twilight Wednesday. Okay, then we have, let's see, body turned into scarecrow. You think that's going to be one? That could be. You never know. I mean, I guess they were so into stuffing humans at one point. No. Don't see it. There is none with that in it. Awesome. So that's going to do it, you guys. Didn't see it in there. But thanks for playing along there. I got to go take some Benadryl or something. Baby made into doll. You never know. Hey, Zozo, do you ever notice that you and 8675309 are very similar, actually? I always say that to both of you. Like, you guys are like, you guys have the same kind of weird things that you type in. Yeah. Yeah, I told her that a long time ago. Zozo, anyway. Actually, both of you. I've told you each the same thing. What are you referring to, Nikki? Oh yeah, I'm not really into that case. You know, I think it's very the parents. You know why I'm not into that case of that kid that was in the house is the parents' behavior doesn't give me confidence that something just didn't happen there at home amongst them or something prior. It just you know, I've looked at all the information. I've heard people talking about it. It's just sort of it was sort of big for a little bit, but you notice how it faded away really quick. And I think it's because the parents take away from having conviction on what was what. Like Zozo up there said, "Oh, there's no way it was suicide." Well, we don't know what it was, but the stepfather could have had something to do with something, or whatever he was. I can't remember if it was his bio father or stepdad. He could have had something to do with it. You know, and they're just covering up at the house. That's why things changed. Some of the things were moved around compared to photographs. It's a shit show. I mean, that's one I don't want to waste time with. No, I can't, Miranda. I can't play people's music on here. Yeah, no, there's lots of people that say no, but there's lots of people. The problem is the parents ruined me wanting to do anything. Their law enforcement seems to know what they're talking about, and they seem a little, there's not something quite right there. The parents, so whether it was a suicide or not, I don't know, but. Yeah, well, you can vote whatever you want, DS Miles, but it doesn't matter. Now, I know you just keep saying there's no way it's a suicide because you don't want it to be one. And yet it could be, right? I know that you don't want it to be a suicide. People just say, oh, it can't be, therefore it's not, and I'm right, and, it's one of those things you got to look at. It could be the father. The stepdad did something, That's where when I was going through the information, it seemed more likely that it was somebody in their family that did something to him than it was a suicide, for sure. Okay? That's what it felt like, but I don't know. I can't tell you that, 100% it's not a suicide. Oh, it's 100%. And none of you can say that. You'll say it because you just want to, but you can't actually say it and have credibility, okay? That's the truth of it. Yeah. Yeah. So what? You don't think police would have looked at that and figured out how he could have done it? I'm just saying. If there was something so overwhelmingly like that. So you guys just see all of the popular sort of stuff that people see out there, and then they go, ooh, yeah, there's no way, ooh. Instead of really, you don't think, let me just say this. Do you think the police saw the same information that you just brought up, and it was so overwhelming that they said, nope, that's impossible? He couldn't have killed. I mean, he could have easily done it, and if it wasn't possible. So they must have looked at something that they had that made them think that. You don't think they would have wanted to? It's not like it's something that's negative against the police department to look into that more and make an arrest against the wacko there. There's nothing that they're trying to hide. Why wouldn't they want to do that? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, that one. I don't know about that one either, Zozo. Yeah, I agree. That one with the lady stabbing herself in the back, that doesn't seem like a suicide. Doesn't seem like one. And maybe this kid's doesn't seem like one either. I just can't say the words, there's no way it wasn't. Because if there was really no way, then police wouldn't make the findings they have. And then if you think that they're making here's the thing. You've seen some weird shit, like that one case that I got, them switched it to, it was suicide to undetermined, which to me is ludicrous even then, in that case. But that one's a little bit more ambiguous. Not really, though. To me, the DJ Ficky case where, they said, oh, it's a suicide. And the medical examiner said it's a suicide because he should have been able to defend himself because he was on meth. And it's like, what in the hell does that even mean? And then the guy that was holding the gun, he's the one who said that he was holding the gun. Then the guy who got killed's wife grabbed his arm, it pulled his arm back, and it fired the gun. and they still ruled it a suicide. Can anybody in the world think that that is a suicide? I mean, that right there, even the explanation by the person who held the gun in his hand, saying that another woman grabbed his arm and then his own fingers pulled the trigger and it shot this person. They called that a suicide. I mean, that isn't even a chance in that one. It's already not, just listening to that. I don't care if the guy stuck the barrel in his mouth and held it there with his hands. He's not the one that pulled the trigger. And so that one got reversed. I made a video going through each point, sent it into the detective, and then he called me first to tell me that, hey, we've switched it to undetermined, and then they called the family up, and then they did it. Wait a minute, but never mind. I don't make a difference out here, you guys. Forget it. I just sit here and nothing's happening. Yeah, can you believe that they would rule it that way? It's really one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, and one of the main ones is because the medical examiner said that, well, he had a stimulant, meth, in his system, so he should have been able to defend himself. Therefore, it's a suicide. So what I've said is, hey, if you're a killer out there, inject every single person that you're about to kill, and inject them with meth, and then shoot them, and then say to them, the police, well, listen, he had meth, therefore it's a suicide because he should have been able to defend himself. Oh, well, you're innocent then. I mean, what a ridiculous thing. I mean, she literally said that exact thing. I mean, can you imagine? Like, somebody would have a brain that worked like that? Well, he had meth in his system, therefore he should have been able to defend himself, and it's a suicide. And it's actual, we've heard it, right? We played the audio on this show. It wasn't, I'm not making it up. This is real stuff. If I showed you, remember that guy? I think it was Cairo that absolutely hates that guy. Because he said, he was holding my arm and it said boom. She grabbed my arm and it said boom. Yeah, well, even the killer admits that he didn't kill himself. And yet, he did because he had meth in his system. Ridiculous. Did who lose her job? The wife? Who are you talking about? Yeah, it's the DJ Ficky case. Yeah, go look it up. I made a video on it. Well, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it in here. Is that the one? I made a video where we were... Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like well, I have a whole bunch of videos right here. See this? I think not. Part 1. Ding, 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 ding. Maybe this is it. A cold... Yeah, here it is. A cold injustice. Listen to this.
On the trigger when the gun went off.
I never even spoke in this video. But this is the one I sent to the detective.
Move my hand, and I'm like, DJ, please, just give me the goddamn gun, man. I said, you don't want to do nothing like it. And about that time, my arm yanked, and it said, boom.
And where is Brandy in all this shit?
She's the one that yanked my arm. She was at the door with like...
I mean, that's case closed right there. That's not a suicide, right? He's got a gun. He's holding it. And she grabs his arm, and then that's what fired the gun, killing the person. That's all you would have really needed to know, but we're just going to go through this.
You know what a quarter door is? Open the quarter way. She was out on the porch. She stepped in, and she's like, Mark, quit, and grabbed my arm, and it said, boom.
I mean, exactly how did he walk out and he stomped in there? He walked out of before he shot DJ? Yeah, he stomped in there. And Fat Boy was behind me. So Fat Boy's seen exactly what I saw.
Now, Fat Boy's this other guy in a minute.
So he was right behind you?
Yeah, he had to have seen. Had to have. I felt him behind me. I know he did.
Was Mark's finger on the trigger when the gun went off?
Yes.
It was. Did DJ ever touch the
See, Mark is the guy that said, "It said boom!" So this is the guy that was watching it. He said, yes, his finger was on the trigger.
gun? And be honest with me, please.
Yes, he had his hand up on it.
From what we've been told, DJ threw his arm up like he was trying to block the gun. Maybe trying to push
No,
it out of
DJ
space or
actually,
something.
he had his hand around the
Yeah.
end of the barrel.
Uh-huh.
Where you knew for a fact Mark did come out of that room with the gun and it cocked.
Yeah.
Do you feel like
Mark came out of the room, and the gun is cocked already. He's bringing it out to threaten DJ Ficky with it.
Mark did it on purpose?
Honestly, no. I know he meant to intimidate him, but I really don't think he meant for the gun to go off like it did. I really don't.
Why did Mark bring the gun up there that morning to begin with?
For intimidation.
I walked in the living room.
And you could see DJ.
Before I could even say hey or what or anything, Mark come out from behind DJ and said, "You goddamn motherfucker, you stupid motherfucker." I just still can't really remember what Mark said to him.
But he did say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Violently, angrily shot DJ.
Okay.
I don't think Mark intended to shoot DJ. Like I said, he was just trying to scare him into shutting up.
And Mark was in...
See right there? They're saying that Mark guy that goes, he said boom! He went in there to scare him into shutting up. And then, so he's the one that brought the gun in to hold it against the guy's head. Then this lady right here grabbed the guy's arm and it fired. So how is that suicide? I mean, it was making me so angry just listening.
In the back room behind DJ. Right, here's DJ in this left seat. Here's the doorway. All right, there's the doorway to the front. All right, behind here is a bed right there in front of the doorway. Mark come out of that room in front of the door and that door right there and there, which couldn't have been 3 feet standing away, and shot DJ.
Okay.
Violently, angrily, he was just
You know, I mean, I have no loyalties to DJ. I have no loyalties to Mark. It's just the truth, and I really don't think Mark meant to shoot him. It just.
But Mark
it was
did shoot him. But you don't know if he did it on purpose.
I don't think he had intentions of it. I think he was just trying to scare him into shutting up, and the gun went off.
Mark's finger was on the trigger, correct?
Yes. Very strongly, I don't think it was intentional, but but like you said, why would you bring a loaded gun to
Yeah, why would
intimidate
you point a loaded gun?
Hey, this is Detective Ellenberg returning your call.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm investigating the death of
that's his wife, KK.
Donald Ficker, DJ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I have
DJ
your investigation report.
Okay.
And based on your interviews and based on the autopsy report that I have, and the crime scene photos.
Okay.
And 100%, I do not believe this was a suicide. I'm trying to see what can be done to move this from a suicide to a homicide so I can get the proper justice.
Well, there's the person that ruled it a suicide is the medical examiner's office. So, the sheriff's office didn't rule that. We can't really. I don't know of any way to change the ruling.
Well, I got a meeting. The ME just called me. I got to call them back. I got a meeting with them. But I just wanted to let you know that I support your findings, and that I by reading your report, I know that you believe that it's not a suicide because you would have never sent it to the DA for indictment. If the DA comes back to you or something like that and say, do you think you had enough evidence to support a homicide?
is that something that you would say?
This guy
yes
did
to?
pull the trigger, though.
Homicide, no. Manslaughter.
Homicide, manslaughter. I'm not talking murder. I mean, homicide. Yeah, homicide is the death. But and would you? And my question is, as the detective on the case, would you hold to that?
Yes, that's why I sent it over to the district attorney's office. For that. But yes,
well, that's why I wanted to talk to you, man. I appreciate that.
Hi, Mr.
Listen to
Eccles.
this.
My
Yes.
name is Dr. Grandi. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Grandi?
This lady makes me sick.
Doing well. I'm glad you remember me.
Oh, yes.
So I just wanted to let you know we got the toxicology report back on Mr. Ficky, and it showed stimulants that were present and not any depressants in his drug, in his blood. And based on that, I am going to stick with the cause and manner of death that are listed in the autopsy report.
So to make sure I understand, the toxicology report came back and the drugs that were found doesn't indicate that it was a homicide. You're sticking with suicide?
It shows a stimulant that's present, and based on that information, there's not anything that would appear to have rendered him unable to defend himself, and it appears that it is most consistent with a suicide still.
Even after all the other evidence.
See, you guys, I didn't make that up. Can you hear what she just said there? That is one of the dumbest things that's ever been said by a human being on this planet.
Was there a firearm residue test done on Mr. Ficky before he was cremated? Because I didn't see that in your report.
It is not routinely performed unless it is requested. Let me check through the evidence and see if I don't recall doing one. No, I did not do a firearm gunshot residue collection. It was not requested at the time, and that is not routinely performed.
So we really don't know that he had the shotgun in his hand and fired it if there was no residue.
Well, that gets into the validity of gunshot residue, which I believe you should probably speak to a firearms expert on.
Which I am. So it was a stimulant. What drug was found in there? What was the stimulant?
He had methamphetamine.
And that stimulant having meth in the system, I'm just trying to make sure I understand, would not have prevented him from defending himself.
It's a stimulant, so it would make he would be active.
He would be active.
Yes.
And I'm just asking
This
questions
is like
here.
the
So
dumbest
if
thing I've
someone
ever
holds a
heard in my
shotgun to
life.
your head, he has a stimulant.
You know what? I gotta tell you, after I listened to this is why I put this video together. I just put all the key points in it, boom, 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 and I sent it off. First of all, I sent it to a different medical examiner, and he was like, "Well, that's interesting. Let me look at this again." And then he wrote back and he said, "Well, we talked actually on the phone. He said, it's a little more complicated than that, though. It's a little more complicated." So then I just screwed it. Then I sent it to the detective over there. And he's the one who switched it to undetermined. There is no way that any rational person in the world, that if you saw what even the guy holding the gun said and you go through this, would think that that was a suicide. Okay? Zero.
It's the barrel. Wouldn't that be active?
Remember, in this case, it's an intraoral, so the barrel was inside of the mouth with the mouth closed.
So what?
So he couldn't have been, and I'm just asking, he couldn't have been asleep or anything, and the guy put the gun in his mouth.
Well, and that's why we were checking to see if depressants were present in his system, and they were not.
Oh, jeez, what a joke. Even if he, let me just tell you this, even if he went like this and he put the damn barrel, grabbed the guy's gun barrel, stuck it in his mouth and said, "Do it, you asshole," and then the lady grabs his arm, Mark, and it pulls and fires the gun, it's still not a suicide. Does anybody get that? He's not the one that pulled the trigger on himself, and that's all that matters here. That's it. God. Anyways, I'm getting worked up again because just going over that again it does make you wonder sometimes what's going on out there, right? Really weird shit. So, anyways. So, thank you to, let's see, Kathy Friedmaker, Simple Life Days, Adniram, Mustang Sally, Quietly Frozen, Annie T, Scouting Dude, Adniram's significant other, Alifair M, and look at, man, this is the love connection here, you guys. Lumbrouge, the Mike D Experience, Scouting Dude, Trish Escaped, Nikki Zibs, I've Learned a Lot, 8675309, Alley Cake, Kathy Shiflett, Amber Maiden, Candace Hill, Scouting Dude, Donna D, Hamilton Blue Star Robertson, The Mike D Experience, Jennifer Oram, 8675309, Gwen UK, Amber Maiden, Scouting Dude with the cat eye, a saving donation. Thank you for the night there. LMM, Nikki Zibs, The Mike D Experience, Cindy Leon, Scouting Dude, Vegas Andrews, Quietly Frozen, the coolest name in YouTube history, Mary Crossley, K. Me, Donna D, Stereophonics Mom, who called in, Teresa Murray, Gummo, Jan Allison, Linda Howell, as in Linda Molden Howell of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles, Scouting Dude, Cindy J, Carly S, Billy Juliana, Jessica Schubach, La Bamba, Marlene, Michelle, let's see, with one L. That's her actual name. Michelle with one L. Valerie Hotzfeld, Kami, Plato, Miranda Lee, Lilac Moon, Kami, The Mike D Experience, 8675309, Kami, and Kim Christian right at the end there. And then we also had, looks like Quietly Frozen on PayPal there. Thank you very much. And Linda Howell and Rochelle Black. So thank you guys very much. We'll spin for the... We'll do another everything. Well, let's just do a Wow, Just Wow. It's kind of a slower... Wow, Just Wow mug. Alright, here we go. How do we get to that? But thanks everybody for supporting the channel, even on a Sunday night, just taking phone calls. Maybe we should do phone calls on Sundays, and maybe I can get back to, like, every other Sunday, do a serial killer Sunday. I always thought those are interesting. I like those. Maybe I'll try to do that. But I'm still here on Sundays, you guys. Still here on Sundays. And if I offended anybody tonight, too damn bad. Just kidding. Did you hear Gray? That's right. That's his personality. All right, here we go. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And we're going to... That's right. Did you hear what Gray said? This is for the Wow Just Wow, everybody. Here we go. And don't forget, if you send $25 on PayPal, you get one of the notebooks. We already went through the whole first box. I still got about 47 left. All right, here we go. And you get the Freak pen. I might start putting two pens, the red and the black, in there. See how that goes. Oh, look at that. It's Scoutin' Dude wins the Wow, Just Wow mug. And it's not rigged, man. He had more wedges than everybody else. That's how it works. Ta-da-da-da. Maybe I should change that part on there. Let's see. What is it? This one?
Did you hear what
Gray
I said? Did you hear what I
Gray
said?
said?
Did you hear what
Gray
I said?
I'm gonna adjust that. I'm gonna try to say it like him. I'm gonna go, did you hear what? I'm gonna try to sound like him and fill it in. That'll be great. Did you hear what Gray said? Gee. Anyways, hey everybody, thank you all for being here tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, and yeah, tomorrow I might what I'm going to try to do is condense down any trial stuff that's in the Murdoch case. I might be like opening arguments, I would think. I don't know how far they're going to get in there, but I'll edit it down and we'll just see where it goes from there, right? I mean, it'd be cool. So, very cool. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, and first of all, thanks everybody for the stories, the people who called in, and appreciate everybody who was just listening and paying attention to the callers who had the guts to call in and tell their story. Also, thank you to everybody who supported the channel by hitting the like button and super chats and any channel memberships, anything like that. Thank you very much. And PayPal. And thanks to all the Patreon people out there that, I don't really get to do, or nor do I have time to do all the extra stuff all the time. But because I do shows every single day, so it's hard to do. I'm going to try to figure out something, maybe for members or whatever. That's when we can just sit there and I can just be making a video or something, working on a video. And you can see the whole process of how it's being made. And it's like, hey, I'm just live doing what I do. And I don't really have to talk that much, I could even have, I don't know, some music playing or whatever. I'm just doing what I'm doing. You guys can hang out and talk. And I'm just working. I mean, maybe that would be cool, Of course, I might forget you're here and, start like burping and doing stuff. I'm just kidding. I can't burp, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. And then we got a lot of channel members, too. And it seems like they like watching the show. So, I guess that will do it, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And, as I always say, everybody, until next time. Be safe out there. At a 1, at a 2, at a 3, and I gotta go blow my nose. And
blow your nose? That's gross.
True crime thing for quite people do have to blow their nose every once in a while.
And during this whole time, I have not seen one person.
I know,
that is
I know,
crime detector.
I know, Gray.
Like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector.
Gonna get ya on a stretcher
if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a puppet protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, John.
Ray, you took my part.
Well, I wanted to do it.
I have no agenda.
I'm a bartender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender.
And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.
Good night, everybody. Yeah.
What in the hell was that?
Well, Gray, you told me to smoke the cigarettes with rats in, and I tried them.
Well, how many did you smoke? For God's sakes.
I smoked the whole pack. They tasted really good with the retsin.
I didn't mean to smoke more cigarettes now. I just was like, hey, try the ones with retsin. They brighten your teeth, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Maybe next time just one or two then, or...
Just do what you want, Mary Lou. Do what you want. All right, we'll see you guys later. And be safe out there.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, you said that already.